Righty, folks. Welcome on into the Central Committee stream with your host, Mike from PA. We are already live because that's what we do here. We get up and we get live, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning, everybody. God, I wish I was in the East Coast, you know? Gosh, right now it would be even nicer. You know, we'd be putting in those 8-hour streams. Welcome on in. They're calling him the most committed news streamer of all. So true. You missed the entire El Paso saga. I did see they shut down airspace in a major U.S. city, and then people were like, "What the fuck?" And then they lifted it again. We have a lot to say today, chat. Apparently, Hassan's video on the Emiru situation had like 5 of my chats in it. Oh well. You probably saw this already, but I like how well organized they've made the Epstein files here. Oh yeah, the J-mail. Yeah. Is that what you're talking about? Oh, this is different. I mean, there's a lot, you know, Hassan mocked you in the stream. Okay, let me see this.
They do because they get paid handsomely. And one of the examples is Hassan Piker. He went to China for 2 weeks and come back, a Chinese, now leading the China magazine on the social media.
Okay, here's the thing. Here's the thing about this, ladies and gentlemen. It's funny, but it's also, Hassan, you're in danger, bro. You're in fucking danger, bro. You are in danger. If the weird, like, fascist, anti-China cult members are saying your name unbidden on Fox News, like, oh god, dude, the Falun Gong hit squad, they come, they're all dancing. This is China before the Communist Party. They're all dancing, and then they pull out a gun.
Hey, Michael from Pennsylvania, notice how she said I'm Chinese now? Oh, look at me, I'm Michael from Beijing. No, you're not. Hey, yo, did you hear that? Let's run that back. She said, I'm Chinese.
This is just pretty privilege is really what it is. Like, let's just be completely honest. Let's just be completely honest with how this is going. All right. Like, let's just be completely honest. All right. There's nothing I could do. I think one of the things that I would say so that everybody is aware is when I first came on this platform and I threw up the name Central Committee, immediately the tanky allegations were flying. And the thing is, they didn't even know Central Committee. Like, the funniest thing is, if you go back and look at the tanky accusations that first happened, they didn't even say Central Committee because they're so politically uneducated that they don't even know what a Central Committee is. They were like, because I had a font that was called Future Socialism, and they were like, it looks Cyrillic. And that was their evidence that I was a tanky. So for years and years and years and years, show him these. As someone who's been like fair towards China for the longest time, and people gave me shit for it for a very long time, and now everybody's rushing along. Now everybody suddenly figured out Mike was right. There's some Johnny come latelys.
Central Committee, aka Michael from Pennsylvania, is so much more of a China glazer than me. It's crazy.
It's true. Okay. Instead of putting Hassan stole Mike's glaze, this is good titling. The problem with this is the title doesn't really tell you what the fuck's happening here. It should be like, Hassan admits Mike is from Beijing and he is just his disciple. Something like that. You know, it has to be. That's too long, but you get my point. Like,
eats Xi Jinping's so much sometimes. Even I'm like, come on, bro, just dial it back a little bit. Like, you're gonna get us arrested. You know what I mean? Yeah, Mike from Pennsylvania, more like Mike from Beijing. Beijing. My goal.
Exposed. And we're good. Next time he tries to shit talk me, chat, I want you to deliver this. I want you to deliver this reality.
This year is to go to China and become a white monkey and just stay there.
Interesting. Another Mike was fucking right moment. And here's Hassan taking my ideas and just presenting them as his own. Remember
I am the #1 China dick rider.
Has someone who's been... Oh, is that right? Caught. All right, chat. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Voidzilla
today I interviewed
has stepped up his journalism game. And I want to be the first to admit that he is, without a doubt, maturing as a content creator. Mea culpa, you know, I was wrong. I was too harsh on him for not knowing what probable cause meant and being like, bro, just look it up. Not that hard. Instead of fixating, it's not that big a deal. It's more the chat's annoying. Just agree. So we have ourselves Voidzilla interviewing a lot of the congressmen that are directly involved. I mean, you were more mad at chatters being weird than him for being bad. Yes, that's correct.
Congressman Ro Khanna on the Epstein files. He's one of the origins of the Epstein Transparency Act, along with Thomas Massie, who I also tried to get on the show. They are a Republican-Democrat duo who have been fighting to get the Epstein files publicized, and it's my privilege today to interview him. You're one of the few people who's actually been allowed to see the unredacted Epstein files. What did you find?
Well, first, we found that they were protecting the identity of 6 men. I mean, Massie and I went for 2 hours, and there were 6 men who were listed as co-conspirators, and their names were redacted. I went to the floor of the House of Representatives today, and I called out those 6 men by name.
Salvatore Navora, Zorab Mikaladze, Leopig Leonor, Nicola Caputa, Sultan Ahmed bin Sulayem, CEO of Dubai Ports World, and billionaire businessman Leslie Wexner.
We need courage in this country to hold people accountable who have been accused of some of the most heinous crimes. I mean, men who either raped underage girls or went to Epstein's Island knowing underage girls were being raped or paraded around.
One of the biggest parts of this story has been the meta story of the cover-up. Every time it seems like they're going to get the files out there, it's like opposite day. They redact names they shouldn't. They miss deadlines. They mischaracterize evidence. You know, just recently I saw an FBI memo that there were no cameras in bedrooms of Epstein's house. And then you look at the photos the FBI took, there's a camera in his bedroom. So I just want to understand this. To me, this looks like a cover-up, but who are they covering for? First of all, do you agree with that? And who do you think they're covering for, and if you think they're covering it up at all?
It's obviously a cover-up. It's probably one of the biggest cover-ups in American history. I mean, they're covering up for rich and powerful people who visited this island where young girls were being not just the American elite, the global elite. This is shaking the British monarchy. It may topple the British government. It has the Norwegian princess now not being able to be a queen. I mean, it's had international reverberation.
Of course, I'm so glad you brought that up. That's one of my biggest problems with this story. Internationally, we're seeing some accountability, you know, however small. I have seen zero accountability in America. And so, look, while I appreciate the transparency, I was talking to friends, people who follow the show, and they said, where is the accountability? Are we going to see a single person in America besides Ghislaine Maxwell or Jeffrey Epstein face justice?
Well, that's why I went to the floor today and named these people. I wanted those names public. I mean, if the Justice Department isn't going to do their job, if the FBI isn't, then members of Congress can take to the floor and start naming names. And that's why I did that. But we need investigations. And
Pam Bondi is getting grilled about Epstein? Oh, hell yeah. They might have to watch that too.
By Trump's masked paramilitary.
All right, we'll give it a little bit of, we won't go completely live on the hearing. Because you always want to get about 10, 15 minutes behind any congressional hearing, because you never know when they're just going to take a random fucking break for no reason or just sit there with their twiddling their fucking thumbs. So it's nice to be able to skip ahead a little bit.
Need a political accountability. I mean, how can you have Howard Lutnick, right, who lies to the American people? He says, oh, I never had anything to do with Epstein.
I was never in the room with him socially, for business, or for even philanthropy.
Then it comes out that he actually went to Epstein's Island.
We had lunch on the island. That is true.
And then it comes out that he allegedly had a business with Epstein after Epstein was a convicted pedophile. It's an indictment on America. That in other nations, literally their heads of states are falling if they just had email correspondence with Epstein. And here we've got someone like Lutnick still in government. We need accountability. We need prosecutions of people who actually showed up in the island and Folks, and we need, by the way, the cover-up to end. What is the biggest cover-up? I just want to explain this simply. The FBI scrubbed these files in March before my law, and the most sensitive information are in the FBI files. That's where the survivors named the names of the people who abused them. They're in those FBI files. Donald Trump's FBI scrubbed that in March, and they sent the scrubbed files to Justice. And so Justice then did a second round of redactions. But under my law, the Epstein Transparency Act that Massey and I passed, we need to have those FBI files unscrubbed. We need them unredacted. And that is where the information is. And the only reason I believe they're redacted is they're protecting very rich and powerful people in this country.
Well, look, I mean, part of the thing.
I mean, that's it. What do you even say at this point, chat? What do you even say at this point? Like, this has consistently been an issue in this country, which is nonstop pedophile defense. Now we have emails coming out of the Epstein files showing how the microtransaction craze that has destroyed video games was literally hatched by Jeffrey Epstein. And where are people like Asmongold? Where are the people like Grums? What are they doing? Instead of defending the thing they supposedly care about, video games, they are cozying up with Epstein's friend, Elon Musk. Like, everything that sucks in this planet is fucking connected to Jeffrey Epstein.
That I've appreciated about this push, it's a bipartisan push. Both left and right have gotten behind it. Look, saying, hey, we got to unredact this. We got to see who's really in there. You bring up a great point. A lot of powerful people have lied about their association with Jeffrey Epstein. That's been one of the great revelations that has come out of it. You know, I criticized Howard Lutnick, you know, but we also have Stacey Plaskett. She's saying, you know, I wasn't a friend of him.
That are not your friends. Jeffrey Epstein had information, and I was going to get information. Having a friendship with him is not something that I would deem to have.
And then we see text messages where she says, you know, I'm going to call you my friend. And he says, yeah, don't worry, like, we're friends. I mean,
did you see the IRS illegally disclosed immigrant info to the DHS? Also crypto tagging again? Yeah.
This is a problem that crosses party lines. And my worry is this. Look, right now there's a lot of push, bipartisan, but especially from Democrats. Look, we got to hold these people, accountable. I agree with them. I agreed with the Republicans when they said they were going to hold them accountable last time. My problem is this. Next time, let's say you guys get in power. How can we trust that you guys are going to do what's necessary with the next DOJ? Because it doesn't seem like we're going to get the DOJ to do anything this time. I think we probably both agree on that. How can we trust the next DOJ to take the proper action and hold people accountable?
Well, I think you have to look at the record. You can trust people like Massey and me. We didn't politicize this. We said whoever is implicated needs to pay the consequences. There are Democratic donors like Bill Gates that are in the files. They need to testify. Keir Starmer is someone I knew. I met with him. He's someone who shares. I celebrated when he won. I have no sympathy for Mendelsohn or the Starmer government. I have no sympathy for Democratic donors or big tech folks, some of whom who have supported the party, who are in these files. I have said that President Clinton should testify, and he is. So Massey and I, the reason we've been successful is we haven't made this about Donald Trump or Bill Clinton or politics. We haven't made this Republican or Democrat. We have said wherever the facts go, that's where we're going to go. If it takes down the Democratic donors, it's going to take down the Democratic donors. If it's going to take down Republicans, they'll take down Republicans. And why do you think other people haven't been willing to do it? Because we made some very powerful enemies. There are a lot of billionaires and people in this Epstein class who are against us. So I don't think you can trust a party per se, but I think you can trust people who have a track record of standing up for doing the right thing.
I want to go to the...
I think that's a really, 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 really important point. The point that he's making there about how Jeffrey Epstein is connected to both parties. And here's really the reality of it. It is, if I were to describe Jeffrey Epstein's like social circle, it would be powerful Wall Street and intelligence connected billionaires. And that includes Democrats and Republican parties. Like, it is both parties. They are desperate to obfuscate that fact that it's the uniparty. You know, when people say both parties are the same, what they're talking about is the Epstein class, and they are fucking correct. You are correct. Bill Clinton and Donald Trump are two sides of the same coin.
July 2025 systemic review the FBI claims it did. They made a bunch of surprising findings because, later they were revealed to be, in my view, false. They say, one, this systemic review has no incriminating client list. Well, we see internal slide decks basically from the FBI where very prominent names such as Trump, Jess Staley, Leon Black, Les Wexner, Bill Clinton, a bunch of people have pretty shocking allegations against them. It goes to another part of their memo. They said there's no evidence that's going to predicate an investigation against uncharged third parties. Why not even investigate? That's kind of my problem.
You have hit the nail on the head. None of these rich and powerful people have even been asked under oath why they were on this island. What did they see? Who were the girls? Who was being raped? They've just escaped not just prosecution, they've even escaped investigation. And the Department of Justice could open the investigation tomorrow into these people. And people say, well, why are we obsessed about something that happened years ago? First of all, the survivors deserve justice. And it's very callous for people just to say move on. But the second thing is, if we live in a society where people think the rich can just get away with things because of who they are, that the powerful can just get away with things because of who they are, then you don't have a democratic government.
The Epstein files, why it's so frustrating is it's exposing a justice system that has two different classes. For the weak, you have laws that bind but don't protect. For the powerful, you have laws that protect and do not bind. I mean, do you agree this is what we're seeing with the Epstein files?
Yes.
But that's kind of the essence of what conservatives want. That's the essence of what conservatives want. Conservatives want to live in that kind of society. Conservatives want to be in the in-group where they can act in an arbitrary fashion. Like, I think a lot of people are confused about this because they haven't had politics explained to them and they haven't read history. Conservatives want to live in a slave society. A slave society includes a slave-holding class. And conservatives like that kind of society because they imagine themselves to be in the slave-owning class. And what defines a slave? A slave is someone with no political rights. So for them, the idea that we have millions of people that have no political rights is a-okay because they imagine that they will live in the range or in the class of people where they will be protected from arbitrariness. So they basically want to exist in a place where conservatives can do whatever the fuck they want, moral or immoral, criminal or abusive, and because of who they are, they'll be permitted to do it. That's what they're looking for. That's what they fantasize about. That's what they're eager to exist in. And it's up and down the conservative movement. That's why you'll see conservatives and Zionists laughing at children being murdered. Why do they do that? Because it's an expression of that kind of society where, seeing a child, an innocent, killed, tortured, maimed, raped, is a sign of no accountability, no law, no control, pure power. They could do something that every human being could look at and recognize as wrong, and they can get away with it scot-free. That's why Zionists love to celebrate the murder of children. And this is something that we've reported on a lot. And I don't want to just make that as a statement and then let it fly. I want to give you the supporting evidence. Israeli Telegram groups celebrating. Here it is from Mondo Vice. This is from 2018, chat. This is not after October 6th. This is from 2018. Ali is on the grill. Israeli settlers celebrate burning of Palestinian baby. This is not something that, this is not a January 6th or October 6th thing. Excuse me. This is October 7th. Sorry. January 6th, October 7th. This is not something that Israelis have been shy about. They've been celebrating this for a long time. There is something particularly disturbing about celebrating the burning alive of a baby. This is precisely what Israeli Jewish settlers were doing yesterday outside the court in Lod. Ali was burned. Where is Ali? Ali is on the grill, they chanted, in reference to the 18-month-old baby Ali Dwabshi, who was burned alive by Jewish terrorists in the West Bank town of Duma in 2015. Ali's mother, Riham, and father, Saeed, died of their wounds a few weeks later. Of the family of four, only 5-year-old Ahmed survived the arson with severe burns. This is what Israel is. And this is the world that conservatives want to live in. Conservatives want to live in the world where they're the Israeli settlers chanting about a baby on the grill because they believe they will be in the in group, the powerful group. They don't have a morality. They don't think like you do. And this is why they support Israel. This is why those of us on the left, we believe in human universals, that all human beings have human rights, that all human beings' lives have value, that all human beings deserve dignity. Funnily enough, that's what Jesus Christ preached. Jesus Christ was the end of a Jewish supremacist worldview. He said that every soul should go to heaven. Every soul is redeemable, whether they're Gentile or Jew. That's what makes Jesus Christ and his religion of Christianity different than other religions up to that point. Most religions prior to that point were tribal in nature. Now, you can know, I'm not advocating that Christianity is literally true. I'm just saying I'm comparing theology of various types. And, obviously Christianity is cribbed from, religions like Zoroastrianism and Judaism itself. There is all sorts of amalgamations that are, pressed into the service of this religion that is a modern construct. I haven't heard the answer from Casey Tron. Do you know if she heard the idea yet? I don't think so. I'm going to talk to her sometime this week. Don't worry about it. Check with me on Friday again. Sorry to make you wait. It's just, and preaching Christianity to everyone and not just Jews is a development after the death of Christ, as far as I know. The disciples, I believe, were all Jewish. The Gospels talk about universalism. And this kind of idea that all human beings have value is an idea that conservatives are explicitly rejecting.
It's two tiers of justice in America. That's why I came up with the term Epstein class. If you're part of this rich, powerful club, then you feel like you're above the law.
Speaking of accountability, I want to talk about, one of the claims by the Justice Department. I mean, they say there's no credible evidence Epstein is blackmailing individuals. This is a huge problem because the FBI basically failed to get a bunch of CDs, hard drives that later were found removed from Epstein's properties. But, there's this email basically Epstein sent himself about Bill Gates, where he alleges that he facilitated trysts with Bill Gates. Bill Gates denies this, but it reads as straight up blackmail. It's like, you need to give me X millions of dollars. Otherwise, something's going to come out. Well, here's my problem. And this is what I'd love for people like Gates to be asked. He says he separated himself from Epstein. And then it turns out he sends a $2 million gift to MIT directed by Jeffrey Epstein. So if he had nothing to do with it, this wasn't blackmail, why is he sending a $2 million gift? I mean, are we going to ever have it make sense? The gaslighting is what bothers me. You brought up Howard Lutnick. He says, oh, I was so disgusted. And then he's found to be a business with the guy. I just don't like, and I don't think anyone likes, being lied to, especially by people in power and people who are making decisions sort of for the rest of us. Bill Gates has enormous influence. The idea that he would be kind of, compromised by some of these things is very alarming.
It is alarming, and that's why he needs to come under oath and answer these questions. That's why there should be an investigation where he's asked by the Justice Department and Congress. And I say this as a Democrat. I mean, he supported a lot of Democrats, but we need fundamental accountability. It can't just be about Lutnick because he's in the Trump administration. It needs to be across the board, regardless of people's politics. And the issue in terms of what Epstein was and what he was doing, look, even my law doesn't allow for the release of classified information. You can't in Congress declassify things. That's the rule. But what we need is a president who actually appoints someone who has credibility in the military or in intelligence to look through the classified information and make a public report of what Epstein did and whether there was anything there. And that person has to have incredible credibility. Until then, there are going to be both rumors out there and conspiracy theories out there and legitimate questions. But that won't be answered just by my law.
Does Mike think there's a Bannon-Asmund connection? Whether there is I do. I believe that there is a Bannon-Asmund connection, and I believe there has been one for a long time. That being said, I don't have any direct evidence of it. And honestly, it doesn't matter. Well, Asmund is basically just doing exactly what the fascist pedophiles want him to do. And that shouldn't surprise you. If you know Asmongold, then you know what he's about.
We need actually a commission that can look through the classified information.
I'm glad you brought this up. You know, one of the questions is, why did the plea deal in 2008 happen? Why did it seem like every time there was going to be something happening, it seemed like some bigger players were reaching in? You know, the CIA was FOIA'd by Jeffrey Epstein about Jeffrey Epstein, and they basically denied it. They said, hey, we can't confirm or deny any classified evidence that we may or may not have on you. The NSA basically did the same thing. You know, this is a big problem was Epstein working for our government or foreign governments? This is something that's kind of speculated about a lot. There's a lot of emails with connections with powerful world leaders where Epstein seems to be in some type of official or unofficial capacity. I mean, what do you know, if anything, about this?
I generally don't have insight into his relationships other than to say it's odd that he's got pictures at the CIA. It's odd that he has relationships with so many world leaders, that he's getting access from Gordon Brown's trade secretary about what purchases UK is going to make in the financial markets, that he has access to what India's prime minister is going to do in the United States or Israel, that he has access to an Israeli former prime minister, so much so that Netanyahu is making statements about the former prime minister's relationship with Epstein. I mean, how is this person as connected? Actually, that's one of the questions I want to ask President Clinton is, like, who is this guy? You know, or Trump, or in our classified information. I mean, why is this guy as connected as he is? People say, oh, he's just a collector of influential people. I know a lot of people who network in Congress. You know, I try to network. I don't know all these world leaders.
After learning about Bannon selling wild gold and it being tied to Epstein, there's a chance you're in the Epstein files, Flea Noodle, huh? Did you buy gold? Why the fuck would you buy wild gold? That's just embarrassing. That's just embarrassing. Stop it.
You don't get there just by networking. There's something else going on.
That's a great question. I have the same question. I mean, it's a very strange thing. You know, I want to talk about Trump's relationship with Epstein for a second. You know, there have been a lot of revelations from the files, a lot of weird behavior from the president, who normally is unbothered by anything press related. And yet we just had something come out very interesting. It seems to be a 2019 interview with the Palm Beach police chief, Michael Ryder. And he said that basically Trump blew the whistle on Epstein's activities and said, thank goodness you're stopping him. Everyone has known he's been doing this, saying Maxwell was evil. You know, this definitely surprised me. I'm not going to lie. I said to myself, why didn't they? If I was there, I'd put that out sooner. I mean, I'm just kind of shocked that that was in there.
The answer is because there's a lot more in there that makes him look really bad, and they know it's going to come out eventually. So they're probably destroying the shit. The thing is, Donald Trump is a pedophile. It made more accurate. He didn't mind fucking 15-year-olds. You know, he didn't mind underage girls. And in my book, that means you're a pedophile. And he was making sexual contents toward children out in the open. We've known about it for years. So the idea that he wasn't interested in sleeping with or sexually abusing these girls, of course they are. Of course he's in there.
Also, it seems like later he said he didn't know what was happening.
By the way, the evidence of Trump reporting it is a statement made by someone over a decade later. Yeah, that's... Come on, Voidzilla, come on!
Happening.
At the time, did you know why he was taking those young women?
No, I don't know really why.
So, I mean, what do you make of this? Were you surprised to see that? I was pretty shocked. I was like, what is this? I don't know what to make of it, really.
Yeah, I was surprised. I said on its face, it looks like a good thing that he was saying that Epstein should be held accountable. I wish more people have done that. I guess the questions for President Trump is why did it continue, and does he know other people who were abusing these girls, and what else does he know about Epstein's relationships? But you know, on the face, that one call is it seemed like the right thing to do.
Yeah, it was weird. And, well, it also made me wonder, because in 2002, there's that birthday book, right? 2005 or 2006, it looks like he calls and says, hey, we all knew this was basically going down. So glad you're taking him down. I mean, the whole thing is very confusing, actually. I don't know if we're ever going to get the truth on that, maybe. You know, Ghislaine Maxwell is an interesting character because he says, oh, she's evil. Well, he was friends with her for a very long time. Now she seems to be playing a part in the game. I mean, I'm sure you've seen this. Ghislaine Maxwell basically said through her lawyer, I will clear Trump and Clinton if pardoned. I mean, is this is the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen.
Well, I was in her deposition. She said, I want a pardon and I'll clear Clinton and Trump. But she also says, give me clemency and I'll name all the other people who were these young girls. I mean, come on. She's basically saying, okay, you want to know who these people are? Get me out of jail. And so it's the most corrupt thing I've seen. And this is why we know there are other powerful people, right? Because we know Maxwell is saying it, the documents are saying it, the survivors are saying it, and the only two people who are in jail, one is dead, Jeffrey Epstein, and the other one is Maxwell.
I mean, I want to put a finer point on that. Actually, Maxwell's life got better after the Transparency Act, which, I'm happy about the transparency, but just on stating on levels of fact, since 2025, the only person who's ever faced real accountability on Jeffrey Epstein, her life has gotten better. The survivors' lives have arguably gotten worse. The DOJ failed to redact a bunch of stuff and expose them to the world. I mean, it just seems like this is my problem, and it leads me...
It's because Donald Trump is bribing Maxwell so she doesn't talk about Donald Trump. It doesn't take a fucking genius to connect the fucking dots. She's being given special treatment because she's an Israeli intelligence asset who has compromise on the president of the United States. And so they're like, listen, we can't release you because the optics are so bad. So we'll move you to the minimum security prison. We'll give you special treatment and we'll crush any whistleblower who complains. It is fucking obvious. And it doesn't take a genius to connect the fucking dots. And you should connect those dots for your audience because a lot of them are not geniuses. Let's just put it that way. A lot of y'all are not geniuses.
To the question of, we kind of where we started. It's great that we have transparency. I love the transparency. But where's the accountability, right?
Well, you're absolutely right. But this is the first time
here's the problem that people don't understand, is that things don't just happen. And this is the crisis of liberalism, is that people keep asking these questions. Where's the accountability? Why won't people do anything? Why is that? Politics is about power. Everybody can believe something, but the power is not in our hands. It's in the hands of an Epstein ally, Donald Trump, and the Epstein party, the Republican Party. Now, the Democrats are full of Epstein dick riders, too. That's the reality. How is that going to change? Well, how do you get power in this country? It's fucking unsatisfying, but it is the reality.
Survivors seem heard. This is the first time that we've actually had a government take action and release these files after decades. This is the first time that there's a conversation, at least, about elite accountability. Now, that conversation, as you pointed out, is going very differently in Britain and Norway and other countries. And the question is America going to pass the moral test? Are we just going to shrug and say, no, these people are too rich, we still want their money, we still like hanging out with them, they fund too many of the nonprofits, they fund too many of the universities and fund too many of the hospitals. And so, you know what, we're going to give them a time out. They need to go quiet for a year or two, and then they can rehabilitate themselves? Or are we actually going to have accountability in America where they are stripped of their position, where they are investigated, and where, when crimes have happened, they're prosecuted? And that's an open question, because so far we have not seen the accountability.
Well, also the FBI, for as long as I've been sort of watching what they do, they're sort of the world police. I mean, unlike other kind of national agencies, they don't just concern themselves with what's happening in America. They go after people internationally, right? It's very clear that Epstein's organization was an international operation. Even if you're trying to make the claim that he was trafficking to himself, there were other people assisting in that, right? We see in the files, Epstein was paying a guy named Daniel Syed, who's not dead yet, who to basically go scout for women, right? And those women later, they gave their passports, and later they were brought to America. So all this stuff is in the files, this international ring that was going on, whether or not you want to say he was trafficking to himself. Do we even have the gumption to target that? I hate to put it so crassly, but I feel like people just want a scalp. I mean, that feels bad to say. We want justice, but even symbolic justice would be better than this, right? Which is basically, we released everything and we get nothing.
That's why I went and gave the 6 names this morning on the floor of the House. I mean, many of those names are foreigners, but they were listed as co-conspirators. And the question is, are we going to have justice? One of the survivors told me that the person who her when she was 17 happened in France.
Isn't it disgusting that we can't even have political discussions and historical discussions as adults without having to censor words like rape? Isn't it an embarrassment that we're living in this fucking gauze wrap of political discourse? I want to, and I mean this, and I mean this completely. The people that think they have the right to control us should be, I don't want to lose my platform, should be removed from positions of power.
And that this person has left both France and the United States to evade the prosecution of the authorities. And so the question is just, are we going to care enough to get justice? Because you're right, it's not just justice of famous names who are caught up in all of this. There are a lot of people around the world who are caught up in these girls, and these women want justice. They don't want just a shaming of famous names. They want their accusers held accountable. Think about it. For 20, 30 years, they've seen these people accumulate wealth, fly around, escape any accountability, and they were treated as disposable, as that they didn't matter, as if they were just objects for the gratification of rich and powerful men.
Perfectly said. The final question here. What's the worst thing you've seen in these files?
I've seen some pretty sick things. I mean, just the grotesque nature of what they did to young girls. I mean, it's much worse than just. I mean, it's violent, it's ugly, it's sick, and that is just stomach churning. And then the scale of it. I don't think people understand how many of these young girls were caught up in this. And the class issue is at the core of this. That's why I said Epstein class, because a lot of these girls were working class. A lot of them didn't have fathers. They were targeted. They were preyed upon by rich and powerful people. And then they were told, don't call the police, nothing is going to happen. Don't call the FBI, nothing's going to happen. And the person who did call the FBI in 1996, she was called a liar. This is a moral reckoning for this country. It's an elite governing class that is immature, that is callow, that is reckless, that is arrogant, that is self-entitled, and that has done horrendous things. And the question is, are we just going to try to brush it aside and move on, as the president says, or are we actually going to have a moral reckoning, have a new moral vision, and be rooted in the values that built this country? And that is what's at stake.
And that's our interview. Thanks to Congressman Ro Khanna for coming on the show. If you want to support the show, you can do so at Patreon. And if you want to see all the files that have been released, even the ones that the DOJ has been removing from their own website, you can go to jmail.world. It's a website I partnered with to get the Jeffrey Epstein files to
and
his
by the way, chat, that file, that is set up by, and this is very important, this is set up by Dropsite News. Actually, I need to get the Dropsite guys on. Here's my personal feeling. Like, whenever you talk about the death penalty, you know, a lot of people on the left, like culturally, socially, I wouldn't want to have the death penalty as a punishment. But here's the thing. We are in revolutionary conditions. And you need to recognize that. Part of transitioning from one period, one paradigm to another, some people are so inured to become to their positions in the old system that they would rather die than give them up and accept even a high quality, dignified life as an equal in the future, right? You know, for liberalism to exist, we had to go through bloody wars. There were a lot of wars to end feudalism. If there was no French Revolution, there is no liberalism in France. Like, a lot of people think that the French Revolution was a failure because it eventually ended up with Napoleon, you know, founding an empire and kind of like taking steps away from the Republic, et cetera, et cetera. And that's not an accurate understanding of history. The French Revolution and the Napoleonic administration that came after annihilated most of the feudal traditions and positions and way of life. It was a fundamental death blow to the ancient French feudal regime. Now, it didn't mean it resulted smoothly and evenly and straight into, you know, liberalism, but it was a necessary precondition for the rise of liberalism in Europe. It's the same thing with the English Civil War. Without the English Civil War, there is no liberalism in the UK. Like, liberalism itself required blood. It required revolution. It required civil war and war. Napoleon, you know, stomping through Europe, destroying small feudal states, feudal accumulations, destroying old medieval political formations around Europe is what led to eventually the rise of liberalism. as a political valiance that prevailed. And so too, socialism will require similar things to happen, you know, and it's not going to be smooth. It's not going to be peaceful. It's not going to be a straight line. There's going to be blood. Now, I'm not advocating for violence. I'm not saying that it's good that violence is going to happen. I am just observing this is a historical analysis, okay? This is just looking back on history, looking at the revolutions of 1848, looking back on Napoleonic era, looking back on the French Revolution, the American Revolution, the Civil War, World War I, World War II. But I do think that for in America, we are in kind of a crisis where Americans no longer consider corruption to be that bad. In fact, a lot of Americans are kind of eagerly grabbing at the copper in the walls. They're destroying their own community to try to grab their share. And in order to like reset the political norms of our society, to fix it, we're going to need to have harsh measures. Like the reason why you could just drop a laptop in the middle of a city street in China and no one will steal it is because they had to go through a harsh period where antisocial behavior was not acceptable. Now that you live in a society where antisocial behavior has so fully been acculturated against, no one has to do, there is no restriction of freedom. There is no authoritarianism because it's not needed anymore. People just act right. There's nothing to do anymore. And so with that mentality, how do we fix our political class? Well, they've got to be punished and it has to be severe. And it's got to mean that some of them need to have the death penalty, because when you are the reason why I'm in favor of the death penalty for elites in particular is because they have trust. They have lives of ease. They have maids. They have private chefs. They have chauffeurs. They have bodyguards. They live a life of luxury and ease. And so when they make an evil, corrupt decision, it's for pure greed. If you're somebody who is given so much societal trust, if you're a person who's given so much societal resources and you use that to exploit and dominate others, the death penalty is a reasonable response to that crime. With great reward, with great responsibility, comes great punishment for violating that trust. And, obviously there are concerns about it being abused, and I would, that's true. I would worry about that. And I want to make sure the processes are fair and transparent. But like Jeffrey Epstein should have gotten the death penalty. That's not a question. Would you say positions like cops should get higher punishments? Yes, of course. I mean, listen, police officers or law enforcement or any kind of, they should be held to a higher standard. Malcolm X talking about China.
The Chinese Revolution. They set a good example. When I was in prison, I read an article, and don't be shocked when I say I was in prison. You still in prison. That's what America means, prison. When I was in prison, I read an article in Life magazine showing a little Chinese girl, 9 years old. Her father was on his hands and knees, and she was pulling because he was an Uncle Tom Chinaman. When they had the revolution over there, they took a whole generation of Uncle Tom, just wiped them out. And within 10 years, that little girl became a full-grown woman. No more Toms in China. And today it's one of the toughest, roughest, most feared countries on this earth by the white man, because there are no Uncle Toms over there.
I remember when I gave my book to my father, I dedicated a book of mine, Power and the Powerless, to my father. I said, to my father with my love. Gave him a copy of the book. He opened it up, looked at that. He'd only gone to the 7th grade. He was a son of an immigrant, a working-class Italian. And he opens the book, and he starts looking through it, and he gets misty-eyed, very misty-eyed. And I thought it's because he was so touched that his son had dedicated a book to him. That wasn't the reason. He looks up to me and says, I can't read this, kid. I said, that's okay, Dad. Neither can the students. I mean, that's not something. I mean, don't worry about that. I wrote it for you. I mean, it's your book, and you don't have to read it. It's a very complicated book, academic book. He says, yeah, I can't read this book. And the defeat that man felt. That's what illiteracy is about. That's what the joy of literacy programs is. That's why in Nicaragua you got people walking proud now for the first time. They were animals before. They weren't allowed to read. They weren't taught to read. So you compare a country to what it came from with all its imperfections, and those who demand instant perfection. The day after the revolution, they get up and say, are there civil liberties for the fascists? Are they going to be allowed to have their newspapers and their radio program? Are they going to be able to keep all their farms? The passion that some of our liberals feel the day after the revolution, the passion and concern they feel for the fascists, the civil rights and civil liberties of those fascists who were dumping and destroying and murdering people before. Now the revolution has got to be perfect. It's got to be flawless. Well, that isn't my criteria. My criteria is what happens to those people who couldn't read. What happens to those babies that couldn't eat, that died of hunger? And that's why I support revolution. The revolution that feeds the children gets my support.
Totally unrelated video. And after the Cuban Revolution, there was a period where the revolutionaries, Castro, Che, they were trying to hold people back because they were demanding more executions. More executions of the people that had tortured their family members, because the Batista government was a torturing, murdering government. There were slave plantations. There were pimps that worked for the Italian mafia that were kidnapping little girls off the street. And as the revolution won, the people of Havana came out and demanded that more of the people were executed. More of the Batista government officials were executed. And it was the revolutionaries that were saying, hold back. We must show some humanity.
In front of the presidential palace in Havana, nearly 1 million people, which is just about the whole population of this capital city, gathered at the bidding of their new leader, Fidel Castro. The summary courts-martial and executions of Batista followers have brought criticisms from abroad, especially America. Castro wanted to know how his countrymen felt on the subject, and the hysterical reception shows that Cubans would support just about anything he did. Dr. Castro, a 32-year-old lawyer, has recently banned the Roman holiday-type trials at the local sports stadium. He certainly displays great eloquence and a powerful personality.
Con que la revolución cubana sabe también pelear y ganar batallas en este campo.
It looks as if the chances of the ex-president's followers are not worth a cupful of burnt sugar. Despite outside criticism of Castro's methods, trials and executions will continue.
That's why they are so fucking... by the way, you know, the Cuban government was willing to come to an accommodation with the United States. They did not want to have the United States as an enemy. It's a small country. That's just the reality. Open presents. Thank you for another 100. Okay, chat. Bend the fucking knee. Everybody DSA knee right now. Right fucking now. And so what are we talking about here, chat? If we proceed further, did you guys see this story? It made me so sad. Okay. Oh my God. Jesus Christ. The chorus creators are trying to do their anti-Hassan shit again, which, by the way, we've had. And oh my chat, we're very close to a hype train. Just give some subs. Somebody else sub, resub, or give bits. We're gonna have some high level hype train because Open Presence already dropped 100. So let's get this hype train going. Let's get the hype train going. Resub right now. Anyway. So this is so transparent, by the way. This is so Ham and Fist, thank you for the 20. I can spell, chat, I swear. Corporatists. How do you spell it? How come I can't corporatists? Oh my God, I gotta Google this now. I spelled it right. Why is it saying that I am misspelling it when I spelled it right? God, I fucking hate this. Is classic. So
vote for Gavin Newsom. Me of course, too. 100%. I wouldn't blink. What about you, Hassan?
So, oh God, this is so fucking stupid. I'm sorry, Austin, Jennifer, I love you guys. I really, really do. But you've got to be smarter. You've got to be smarter. You've got to be better than this. You really have to be better than this. We are 2 years before a primary. Gavin Newsom is a bad governor. And shut the fuck up about voting for Gavin Newsom. Shut the fuck up. I will vote for what I need to vote for in order to stop fascism in this country. what has been proven by people like Zohran Mamdani is that you don't have to give up anything. Just vote for the person who's good and is awesome and is going to fix the problems, and then you'll win. Compromising makes it more likely we lose. So, and I hate Gavin Newsom. I personally hate Gavin Newsom. We're not in that argument. We're not in that stage yet. We're not in that period. If Gavin Newsom wins the primary, well, then I'm not going to vote for him. Right? Like, duh. But who gives a fuck? We're not in that stage. He hasn't won anything. Stop trying to surrender in advance and do not accept questions like this. And if I were Hassan, I would have stopped them right there. And I would have said, why are you asking it like that? Why are you asking it like this? Let's watch the video.
For him. Disappointed in
Who
Gavin
do you vote
Newsom.
for, J.D. Vance or Gavin Newsom?
Well,
So I would stop her and I say, I reject your question. With all due respect, I reject your question. And your question is why we're in trouble. Like, I'm sorry, but that mentality that you just showed me of would you vote for Gavin Newsom or J.D. Vance, that's what needs to be killed. And the reason why that attitude needs to be killed is because you are presupposing defeat. And in politics, the side that presupposes defeat is the side that will be defeated. You're making a self-fulfilling prophecy. How come nobody's asking the centrist, who would you rather vote for, AOC or J.D. Vance? AOC or J.D. Vance? That's the question we should be asking people. AOC or J.D. Vance? I don't give a shit about your Gavin Newsom question. Fuck you is my answer to that question. Now, I love Jennifer. I wouldn't say it to that like her to her because she comes from the right place. But stop asking those loser. That's a loser question for a loser. I know she's not a loser, but that mentality, she's repeating stuff she's hearing from MSNBC and stuff and other liberal spaces. Stop asking loser questions for a loser. We are 2 years before a primary. The question is, who do you want to vote for? Who do you think we need to vote for? Not who would you settle for? This is like saying you'll settle for the fucking, for like a guy who cheats on you before you've had your first date. Can you have some self-respect?
To vote for Gavin Newsom,
Me
of
too.
course, 100%.
I wouldn't blink.
There's no
What
doubt.
about you, Hassan?
I'd probably vote third party.
You would?
Oh yeah. I mean, at that point, it doesn't even matter. Like, because my policy on this is
like, I get what Hassan is saying, and I would say the same thing, but it's just, it's an optics failure. You're giving them, and by the way, and I'm honestly frustrated with them for even doing this, like, because Hassan, you need to start thinking like a politician, man. You need to stop having conversations like you're at a fucking bar, which means you have to hold frame. You can no longer you can't have a normal conversation with people where they're like acting like they're in good faith. You are a politician. You are a presidential candidate level politician. And that's your life now. You need to hold frame. You need to reject questions that are fucking useless. And you need to be like, why are you talking like Gavin Newsom's going to win the primary? The guy can't even fucking, his state is a shithole. California had its population drop. Have you been to California? It's a fucking utopia. The weather never gets lower than 70 degrees in half the fucking state. Sunny's 350 days a fucking year. But it's a shithole because Gavin Newsom has made housing unaffordable, healthcare unaffordable. He can't get a single railway built. He's been governor for 8 years. He can't build one railway between San Francisco and Los Angeles. He blew an $80 billion surplus. California has shifted from a record-breaking $97.5 billion surplus in 2022 to a projected $18 billion deficit. Do you understand that I mean, that's $100 billion swing. And what did they get for it? What did they get for their $100 billion? Unaffordable housing, unaffordable healthcare, terrible public transit, homelessness crisis. He hasn't solved a fucking problem. Why are you saying Gavin Newsom? Because a fucking 25-year-old intern tweeted something saying Trump is a cringe. That's why you're saying you're going to vote for Gavin Newsom? Can you act like an adult? Can you grow up? I mean, it's absolutely disgusting. I don't know what else to say. And these are supposed to be people on my side. These are supposed to be my allies. With allies like this, like, what are we doing? Assad is right. Vote third party if Newsom is the snob. I'm going to commit Sudoku. Shut the fuck up. Gavin Newsom is not winning dog catcher. Shut the fuck up. You learn a goddamn thing in the last year? Didn't you learn a goddamn thing in the last year? You know what the thing you're supposed to have learned in the last year is? We don't have to compromise. We vote for the person that moves us. And then he turns out to not only be the best at communication, happens to be the best at governance. Zohran Mamdani, he shows that you don't have to compromise on your candidate. You vote for the candidate you love and you fucking win. And then after you win, life gets better. He's actually better at politics because that's why he won. That's why you love him. Stop falling into these stupid fucking frames. I just posted. This is so transparent. Chorus, a dark money group funded by Israeli billionaires, has hired 100 centrist political commentators and Democratic Party shills to attack the left. They want to dampen enthusiasm for candidates like Zohran Mamdani and AOC in favor of corporatists. This is what's happening. It's not complicated. It's not hard to understand. And I legitimately, like, I need to get in the room with somebody like Jennifer because I love Hassan. I really do. But I feel like his mentality is not quite where it needs to be, which is the reality is you are a politician. You cannot have normal conversations anymore. You need to have conversations where you go, Gavin Newsom, who? The governor of California? The guy who turned a $92 billion surplus into a $20 billion deficit and the population declined? The guy who can't build one railroad between San Francisco and LA, two of the richest cities on the planet? The guy who has a homelessness crisis and his solution was to go and steal the walker from a disabled homeless person on the street? The guy who handed burner phones to every CEO so they could have a secret phone number to reach only him? The guy who dated a fucking teenager when he was 40? The guy who was cucked by Donald Trump Jr., his ex-wife left him for Donald Trump Jr.? Do you have generational cuckatoon brain? I mean, his wife left him for Donald Trump Jr. Like, are you okay?
Do you vote for J.D. Vance or Gavin Newsom?
Well, I'd have to vote for Gavin Newsom.
Me
of course,
too.
100%.
I wouldn't blink. What about you, Hassan?
I'd probably vote.
If the choice was J.D. Vance and Gavin Newsom, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to be watching my favorite scene from Handmaid's Tale on loop. This is my favorite scene from Handmaid's Tale, which is, people talk about how it's a lib show, but honestly, the only thing that's liberal about this show is they think that Canada or Europe or the United Nations would stand up to the United States, which is why it's liberal as fuck and funny. If America had a little fascist revolution, Canada would be absorbed in 5 fucking seconds. This is me going to the presidential debate.
May I present to you the new Rachel and Leah Center. By God's grace, we gather to celebrate the dawn of a bright and bountiful future that begins right here with the devotion of his humble servant.
So if you don't know Handmaid's Tale, basically the premise is that there is a far-right revolution in America. They adopt this social system where women who are fertile and violate social laws get arrested and prosecuted and turned into an underclass called a handmaid. And handmaids are then given out to the elite for sexual use so that they could, produce babies, because the crisis that that preceded this revolution was a collapse of fertility in the world. So nobody's having babies anymore. And so this is the show. The show is that women, it's from the perspective of the women who are enslaved as handmaids.
Our handmaids. My brothers, this facility represents a shared vision to restore a moral world in which we can serve God. Now our hopeful prayer is turned into something real and permanent. Here, we can continue to show our commitment to Him and His Word and to honor our promise to the people of Gilead, that we will replenish this earth with healthy children of faith. From the beginning, that has always been, it's not time yet. Tell her to go back.
Go back!
things about the show that I really appreciate and why I think it's not as liberal as people say it is because it recognizes the necessity of violent resistance to fascism. It isn't sentimental. It's not, it shows that there is a limit to liberalism. It shows the characters in flashbacks going to protest with signs and then being attacked by the state and then becoming bewildered. And it's like, oh, they realize, wait, well, actually, if you can't fight to defend your rights, that those rights don't exist. Except the main character befriends the fascist leader's wife. Oh, we're not going to get into the particularities of the story. Let me just say that you need to keep watching. So let's go. I'm sorry I got 8 seconds into this clip about voting for Gavin Newsom before I had a meltdown, but I think you guys need to understand the reason why these chorus guys are pushing this. It's not that hard to understand what they're doing here. Basically, everyone hates Trump, and normie Democrats hate Trump, and they're right to hate Trump. And normie Democrats are radicalizing on policy. Normie Democrats are becoming basically AOC Bernie Sanders crats. Like, if you ask them about policy, every normal Democrat is like, fuck ICE, tax the rich, free Medicare for all, blah, 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 blah. If you ask a normie Democrat, they're on all of our issues. They agree with us on all the issues. So they can't debate issues, right? But the other thing is the normie Democrats hate Republicans with a fiery passion. They want to kill Trump. If you ask a normal Democrat, should we execute Trump? They would say yes. Okay. They're not moderate at all. That opens up one weakness because they think that Democrats hate Trump too, the Democratic politicians, and they don't. So the reason why Hassan and I hate Gavin Newsom is because he doesn't hate Trump, because he went on a Charlie Kirk show and he sucked his dick. He went on Ben Shapiro's show and he folded like a cheap suit. Gavin Newsom doesn't hate the right. He bends the knee to the right. He bends the knee to Israel. He bends the knee to corporations. That's why I hate Gavin Newsom. I don't hate Gavin Newsom because I hate Democrats. I hate Democrats like Gavin Newsom because they love Republicans. That's why. And I'm sorry for yelling, but this is the main lie in our politics today, that the left doesn't hates Democrats too and blah, blah, blah. I love every Democrat that stands up to the Republicans and actually fights back. I fucking love those people, but they barely exist. And Gavin Newsom, a corporatist, Israeli Zionist, he is a scumbag in every way. And he's made the state of California worse. He's been ineffective. If Gavin Newsom was an effective governor, if California had its quality of life getting better, if Gavin Newsom had handled the budget well, if he had done shit that actually changed the way that Californians lived in a positive way, if he had solved the homelessness crisis, if high-speed rails were, whisking people between San Francisco and Los Angeles as I speak, I would like him. I hate him because he's a loser, because he's in the pockets of Israel, because he's in the pockets of corporations, because he bends down to the Republicans. And honestly, I'm a politics nerd. I study this shit constantly. I know about state laws and all sorts of shit that you don't need to know. Honestly, I don't even want you to know about it, but I do. And let me tell you, these fucking scum, if you're against Israel, they hate you more than a Republican. If you want to see taxes raised on corporations or the rich, they hate you more than a Republican. If you don't think America should be invading Venezuela or Cuba, they hate you more than they hate Republicans. If you think ICE should be abolished and immigrants should have a pathway to citizenship as long as they follow the law, they hate you more than they hate a Republican. If you believe a woman has the right to choose, they hate you more than they hate a Republican. This is the reality. And a lot of Democratic voters don't understand that Democratic politicians like Gavin Newsom are controlled opposition. They're bought. They're there to play. They are the Washington Generals to Donald Trump's Harlem Globetrotters. I need you to understand that my hatred and Hassan's hatred for Gavin Newsom is not because we hate Democrats. It's because we hate weak Democrats. I love Summer Lee, Democrat, black woman from Pittsburgh. I love Rashida Tlaib, Palestinian woman from Detroit, Democrat. I love AOC, woman, Puerto Rican from New York City. I love Bernie Sanders, white man from Vermont. He's caucuses with the Democrats. These people, and I have my disagreements with all of them, I'm not in them with lockstep. I compromise by liking them. I'm already compromising by liking AOC, by supporting Bernie Sanders, by supporting Summer Lee, by supporting Rashida Tlaib. My politics are far to their left. I think every billionaire should be arrested and marched in front of a people's court tomorrow. That's my politics. None of them are advocating for that. I'm compromising. So don't let people tell you that I don't compromise. I'm compromising right fucking now. By the way, that post is from a DGGer. Yes, I know they are. I know they are. I had them blocked. I had to unblock them just to reply.
Third party.
You would?
I have a question for you. I'm a liberal. I would support extreme left candidate if they win the nomination, but you won't support a Normie Lib if he wins the nomination. This is the problem people are asking you of Hassan. Here's my response to you. Normie Lib is not going to win the nomination, so I don't give a fuck about your hypothetical. It's irrelevant. Fuck your hypothetical. I think it's for a dumb person. That's my response to you. There's no evidence whatsoever that matters that a Normie Lib is going to win. If we get to the situation where American Democrats capitulate out of fear to some unelectable scumbag like Gavin Newsom, we'll have that conversation then. Until then, shut the fuck up and let's talk about policies to fix the country. Here's an example. Abolish ICE, Medicare for all, social and public housing to solve the homelessness crisis, a Green New Deal that includes high-speed rail, renewable energy. How about we talk about ideas, you fucking worthless liberal scum? And by the way, if you want me to be nice to you, fuck you. There's a million people that bend over backwards to be nice to you. You want to have your intelligence insulted by people that are pretending you're not an idiot? Go watch those people. I think you're an idiot. It's up to you to prove me you're not a fucking idiot. And asking me that question is the question of a dumb person. I'm tired of the fact that there's so many people that baby you. Doesn't that embarrass you a little bit that you get babied by people? Don't you feel a little ashamed that people think you're a dumb fuck and then they're like fake? Don't you get tired of that?
Oh yeah. I mean, at that point, it doesn't even matter. Like, because my policy on this is the same as like my refusal to endorse Kamala Harris. The reason why I did not endorse Kamala Harris was because she did things that were not only unproductive, but also unconscionable. And I still stand on that. I still talk about it all the time because people constantly bring it up. They're like, you didn't sufficiently like promote Kamala Harris. You're the reason why she lost. And I'm like, I am incapable. There is no singular force in this country that is capable of making or breaking an election. And if that was real, then it is the most idiotic thing not to listen to my demands. But everybody knows that that's not real, right? Mm-hmm. If I had this singular force to be able to make Kamala Harris the president, then Kamala Harris should be coming to me every day and being like, let me do a collab with you, please. Totally. Right? That's not the case, of course. And they know it. That's why they didn't do it. The campaigns are always responsible for whether or not they are able to win the crowds, win the population over, and you know, combat against the couch. Not necessarily even against the Republican Party, but usually you're fighting against the couch, people who just don't go out and vote. And for me, the way I see it is if the Democratic establishment makes this decision one more time, just as they did with Hillary Clinton, just as they did with Kamala Harris, and in some ways, just as they did with Joe Biden as well, which led to Trump too, then they just don't care. And there's not much I can do.
Let me tell you something. Yeah. I agree with everything you say, but as a person who lived in a red state for 50 years, I would crawl through 10 feet of concrete to vote for Gavin Newsom.
Here's what I would say. I don't care. Here's what I would say to that. I don't fucking care. The reason why you live in a red state is because Democrats looked like Gavin Newsom. If you think California is well run, move. Oh, wait, you can't because it's unaffordable? Or you can't even get a 2-bedroom house for less than $1 million? Because you don't want to pay for all that. There's so much congestion on the highways. The air is polluted. Like public transit is unsafe and unreliable. If you think those places are well run, then move to them because they're not. To move to New York City or move to LA, you need to be a multi-millionaire. The reality is like, and I want you to know that this is something that just needs to be accepted. What you're willing to compromise is not the same thing as being electable. You've said that you'll vote for any Democrat. Cool. I won't. So we have a good compromise here. If you guys would vote for any Democrat and I won't, then I get to tell you who to vote for. You have ceded your opinion to me, which is good because I'm going to pick someone really good. I'm going to pick someone who's intelligent, has good policies, is good at communication, represents the next generation, It is going to fix a lot of the problems America has domestically and abroad. You're welcome. You can rest easy because you put your trust in me. I'll pick somebody worth voting for. You won't have to feel like you're eating a shit sandwich when you vote for the candidate I pick. So we have a nice, mutually agreed upon deal.
Even though I think he's duplicitous, a hypocrite, a thirst trap.
I legitimately like this, and I love Jennifer, but this is why she's a liberal. What is wrong with you, man? What the fuck is wrong with you? If you think he sucks, then vote for someone else. We haven't even had a primary yet. What are you doing? I'll never forget this glorious rant.
Hungry for power, all of the things that you say, and harms the Democratic Party and sets the psychological soil to be more prey to fascism. All of that I agree with. But there are so many young, queer, black, brown, marginalized people in red states. And
yes, but they're sacrificed by the Democrats. They don't give a shit about that. They don't give a shit about any of that. They didn't when they had a trifecta, they could have passed a law to protect Roe v. Wade, and they didn't. Because unfortunately, Jennifer, people like you gave them cover. You said we can't beat up Kyrsten Sinema. We can't beat up Joe Manchin. We can't pressure them because we need them. They're in red states, guys. They're in red states. We can't pressure them. And that's what women were sacrificed at the altar of electoral expedience. I'm sorry, but the other reality is, if the Democrats actually gave you good outcomes when you voted for them, more people would vote for them. Stop acting in a defensive mindset. What is wrong with people? Like, I legitimately am going to have a coronary or a stroke. What is wrong with you? I don't get it.
Even though this corporate Democrat is...
By the way, Chad, I love her. I'm having this rant because I love her. Because I love her energy. But what is this mental prison you're trapped in? I don't understand this mental prison you're trapped in. Gavin Newsom is not the nominee. I don't want to be mean, but I gotta be honest. Why are you in this mental prison? Why is this the conversation you want to have? Maybe it's because I had to become a socialist on my own through my own experiences and logic and thought. And so I'm not a born liberal. To me, seems to be kind of like somebody who has a navel gazing kind of defeatist mentality. I just don't understand it. I don't get it. Why do you want to be in this mental space where you're choosing between Gavin Newsom and JD Vance? Why are you entertaining this idea? If material reality forces this decision upon me, I will consider it then. I don't know if Gavin Newsom is going to, maybe Gavin Newsom wins the nomination by surprising me and tacking hard to the left and abandoning Israel and calling for a bunch of really good policies. And he surprises me by moving to the left, and he picks AOC as his vice president. I don't know. If he did that, I would have a different opinion. Maybe I would vote for him, right? Like, why are you like? I don't even know who Gavin Newsom would be in 2028. So why are you asking me this question? He hasn't even come up with a policy platform yet. It's a nonsensical question for idiots.
Up front, anyway, you should be thinking about what she's saying. And it's really important. I feel like Chad and you are overreacting. She's obviously playing the donors being anti-war while good isn't profitable. No, dude, you're delusional. Are you crazy? You think she's like a secret peaceful dove? When has she ever? Kamala Harris has been in politics for, I wouldn't say that long, okay? She was vice president for 4 years. Before that, she was a senator for a couple of years under the Trump administration in the state of California. But beyond that, she's been a cop her whole life, okay? She has very little policy. She has very little policy backing. That's why I've been saying, I'm in a holding pattern. I'm in a holding pattern. I'm in a holding pattern. I'm going to wait and see. I'm going to wait and see what she does. I'm going to wait and see what she does. This speech is supposed to be the moment that she shows you what she is and who she is and what she's going to do. Okay? That speech was literally a nothing will fundamentally change speech. Where the fuck is the joy? Where the fuck is the hope? Is the goddamn momentum? She says she's going to have the most lethal army of all time. Are you out of your mind? Are you insane? Are we? What are we doing? This is the Democratic Party, chat. This is not the Republican Party. Are they turning into the 90s Republicans? I'm losing my mind. I have to whisper scream because I don't want to wake up my goddamn neighbor. Wake the Maybe some of you get so duped by brat memes and you also are like, well, it's a younger, more dynamic candidate and that's all I wanted. I want more, okay? The only reason why I was
even remotely hopeful or excited about this prospect was not because Kamala Harris is a young black Indian woman in comparison to Joe Biden. Okay. I don't give a fuck about the aesthetics. Okay. Most people don't give a fuck about the aesthetics. Diversity without experience from coming from that background that translates the progressive policy positions doesn't mean dick. How many times have we had this goddamn conversation? Okay. You don't want a black person in power for the sheer virtue of them being black. You want them in power because they know what white supremacy is. They've experienced it. They've lived it their whole lives. And you expect them to fight against that sort of thing. That's the reason why diversity is important. Okay. And I'm not saying she hasn't lived it, by the way. Don't come in here and behave in this smug fashion. I'm not saying that at all. Barack Obama experienced it too. Okay. Doesn't matter. When you get to that position of power, if you drop all that shit, then what good are you?
I mean, like, and this, ladies and gentlemen, you know, this was what we were feeling the last night at the DNC. And I can tell you, I actually, when I watched Walz's speech, I was like, okay, I can work with this. And then Kamala Harris came out and said, nah, fuck all that lib shit. I'm going to do wars, baby. Yeah, war. Liz Cheney's going to be my Secretary of State. War.
You see it in a long-term game. In the short-term game, a President Newsom over a President J.D. Vance.
I you know, honest to God, chat, and you know, this is classic Mike, because this is the double-edged sword of me. Either you like the fact that I am unsparing towards our allies, people that I like, and I'm going to harshly criticize what they're saying, or you're going to not like the fact that I do that, and you're going to say that my vibes are off, and why can't we all just get along? Okay, this is a classic Mike moment. This is what makes me me. All right, and the reality is that this entire mental like prison they're in. No, someone needs to shatter them out. I gotta go on her show, man. I gotta go on her show. And I'm sure she would agree with me. Maybe she would surprise me and she would be like, no, I think we should consider Gavin Newsom 24/7. You have a podcast that 1 million people listen to. Why aren't you talking about how great an AOC presidency would be? Why aren't you talking about how Zohran Mamdani proves that you don't have to compromise? That Gavin Newsom is not sufficient? Why aren't you convincing your audience, instead of convincing your audience to be like kind of soft-headed, vote blue no matter who, unpolitical, unideological morons? Why aren't you saying to them, hey, listen, if it is November of 2028 and the choice is Gavin Newsom, JD Vance, we'll have that conversation, okay, about whether we vote for them or not. But in fucking February of 2026, can we talk about a better world? Can we dream of a better idea? Can we have a conversation that isn't idiotic? Bend the knee to the left. You already did with Zohran. The midterms just started. Y'all are crying about the general. Do you want free healthcare? Do you want free college? Do you want to stop Israel? I'll vote for anyone who sincerely believes in making that happen. Like, at the end of the day, like, that is just basic shit. That's basic fucking shit. You need to hear. Oh, yeah, let's watch the Bondi hearing. All right, chat. Let's watch the Bondi hearing. I'm gonna skip over Jordan because, like, he's a fucking. Hey, that's another pedophile defender. We'll go to JB Raskin. Hopefully, this is good. All right, be right back. I gotta.
Justice Department has put common sense ahead of politics. They sued to keep boys out of girls' sports. They secured deals with universities to stop race-based admissions and anti-Semitic practices. And after discovering rampant fraud in Minnesota, the Justice Department, under the leadership of Attorney General Bondi, has established a new national fraud division. In fact, I met with Colin McDonald, who will head that division last week. I think he's going to do a great job. There's a lot of work to be done in that area, but I want to thank the Attorney General for her great work in the first year on the job, and I want to thank you for being here. With that, I would yield to the ranking member for an opening statement.
Thank you kindly, Mr. Chairman, and welcome, Attorney General Bondi. You've got the best lawyer's job in America because your mission is justice and your clients are the American people. But to promote justice for the people, you've got to listen to the victim, like the women seated behind you today. Those are just some of the hundreds of survivors of Jeffrey Epstein's global sex trafficking ring who are demanding that the truth be told and are demanding accountability for the abusers who trafficked and raped them. You still haven't met with these survivors. So with their permission, let me introduce to you the survivors and late survivors' family members who are present today. there's Teresa Helm, there's Jess Michaels, Laura Bloom McGee, Danny Bensky, Liz Stein, Marina Lacerda, Sky and Amanda Roberts, who are the family of the late...
Can I just say one more thing about the mental cuckitude of the Epstein files voter? Like, this is what they want. Democratic Party operatives want you to be like this. This is the end goal of what they're trying to get you to be. Hold on. Somebody link me Hutch saying he would vote for Jeffrey Epstein. That's what they want. They want you to say, I would vote for Jeffrey Epstein if he had a D next to his name. That's what they want. That's their goal. They want you to be a Jeffrey Epstein supporter. God, I tweet too much. Can't find it. Oh, here it is. Wait, no, that was a different Hutch thing I was making fun of. Oh, thank you. Thank you so much, Oliver. I appreciate you. This is what they want you to be. And I'm sorry, but this will cause you to lose more elections. Statements like this will make you lose more elections. But the thing is, Hutch is not, he's a dumb fuck. Let's listen.
Do you condemn Jeffrey Epstein, yes or no, Hutch?
I do. Yeah. But if he had a D next to his name and he was running for a Texas Senate
oh my God.
I would probably vote for him. I'm just saying.
That'd be a tough one.
Wild.
Not kidding.
You're just gonna let that one
not
go.
a joke. Not a joke.
Wow.
Do you condemn Jeffrey Epstein, yes or no, Hutch?
I do.
You guys understand? Okay, so when he's saying this, do you understand what's happening here? This is called tribalism. Hutch wants you to be a tribalist for the Democratic Party. Now, the problem with that mentality is the Democratic Party is not actually your tribe, and they have no familial connections to you. They have no blood connections to you. They owe you nothing, and they will give you nothing. You're not on the team. Your value to them is transactional only. Will you deliver them a vote? If you will tell the Democratic Party that you are a born slave, that you would vote for a rapist pedophile because it has a D next to their name, they will take your give every dollar you have to the Democratic Party, Hutch. Why not? Why are you saving anything for yourself? That's very selfish of you. A return to tribalism is a stated goal in the Epstein files. Exactly. This is tribalism. And the other thing, and this is an even more important point, I want you to understand this point, Hutch. And Hutch is too much of a cowardly bitch to ever respond to the things that I say. We watched him try to react to me. I watched him try to react to the video of mine I made about my debate with Destiny, and it was the most pathetic loser shit I've ever seen in my life. He couldn't even bother to offer up 1 or 2 points because it was about policy. And also, by the way, if somebody has 40,000 viewers, I would respond to them if they were commenting on my political takes. If they were commenting on my political takes substantively, if they were actually talking about the ideas that I'm putting forward with substance, I would happily respond to them. I'm 20 times larger than Hutch. So that would be someone with 80,000 viewers watching me. All right, let's leave aside that. Hutch, by saying that you would vote for Jeffrey Epstein, you make more people not want to vote for Democrats. You are doing a signaling of a tribal identity. You're saying that what you're doing, and because you are in a cult, you're in the Destiny cult, where the goal is to always communicate how you would support the cult leader no matter what crime he committed. That's what you're saying. That's why you like Destiny, because you're already used to apologizing for pedophiles. You're already used to covering up for criminals and abusers and rapists. You're already okay with that. So for you, saying you'd vote for Jeffrey Epstein is no different than your everyday life. For everyone else, we have a moral system. We have a moral universe. And for us, child pornography, raping children, sexually abusing children, that's beyond the pale. And we all recognize that somebody who does that cannot be trusted with power. And that's more important than our tribal identity. For you, tribal identity is the only thing that matters, because tribal identity is the only reason you're still alive, that you have any values. For me, I have a loyalty to something more important, the human race, justice, and these tribes and these associations and these ideas are only in service of those ideas. That's why I hold them. If voting for a Democrat will get me closer to that, I will vote for a Democrat. And that's my goal, by the way. My goal of my politics is to create politicians that will move us closer to justice. Your goal is to have the Democratic Party win. What would be the point of electing Jeffrey Epstein, Hutch? Because you didn't say you would vote for Jeffrey Epstein as long as he also had X, Y, and Z policy, that you wouldn't care about his, as long as he practiced policy. You said you would unreservedly vote for Jeffrey Epstein because of the tribal identity he has. And that is why people don't trust Democrats. You are why the Democrats lose. He won't respond to this because he's a cowardly bitch. And he's dumb, which is why you have 100 viewers.
Virginia Giuffre, Charlene Richard, and Lisa Phillips. Now, you're not showing a lot of interest in the victims, Madam Attorney General, whether it's Epstein's human trafficking ring or the homicidal governmental violence against citizens in Minneapolis. As Attorney General, you're siding with the perpetrators and you're ignoring the victims. That will be your legacy unless you act quickly to change course. You're running a massive Epstein cover-up right out of the Department of Justice. You've been ordered by subpoena and by Congress to turn over 6 million documents, photographs, and videos in the Epstein files, but you've turned over only 3 million. You say you're not turning over the other 3 million because they're somehow duplicative, but we know that there are actual memos of victim statements in there. And you also took down the Department of Justice's prosecution memo from 2019. So it's clearly not all duplicative, but even if it were, why not release it? Just release all the duplicative stuff. In the half you did produce, you redacted the names of abusers, enablers, accomplices, and co-conspirators, apparently to spare them embarrassment and disgrace, which is the exact opposite of what the law ordered you to do. Even worse, you shockingly failed to redact many of the victims' names, which is what you were ordered to do by Congress. Some of the victims had come forward publicly, but many had not. Many had kept torment private, even from family and friends. But you published their name, their identities, their images on thousands of pages for the world to see. So you ignored the law, and even with over 100,000 employees at your disposal, you acted with some mixture of staggering incompetence, cold indifference, and jaded cruelty towards more than 1,000 victims raped, abused, and trafficked. This performance screams cover-up. Convicted sex trafficker and groomer Ghislaine Maxwell opened the gates of hell to Virginia Giuffre and hundreds of other victims, as Virginia recorded in her remarkable book, Nobody's Girl. But when Maxwell was subpoenaed to come testify before Congress, you and Todd Blanche quickly moved her from a higher security prison to a minimum security camp in Texas, where she's enjoyed 5-star treatment, including catered meals, private gym time, and access to a therapy puppy. All because Todd Blanche, who's utterly failed to investigate the monstrous crimes of Epstein and Maxwell's co-conspirators, spent 9 hours with Maxwell and satisfied himself that she would have nothing untoward to say about Donald Trump, which is your only real interest in the matter, based on institutional performance. But abandoning victims and coddling perpetrators is what you do best. When the FBI opened a criminal investigation into the brutal killing in Minneapolis of Renee Good, a poet and 37-year-old mother of 3, by Trump's masked paramilitary ICE agents, you shut it down. You claim you're investigating the cold-blooded murder of Alex Preddy, an ICU nurse at the VA. But how can we trust the administration when the president and Kristi Noem called Preddy a domestic terrorist and Stephen Miller called him a would-be assassin? Not only do you refuse to share evidence with the state and local investigators and prosecutors in Minnesota, you have blocked their access to the crime scene and the evidence. How are you seeking justice for Marimar Martinez, the Montessori school teacher in Chicago who was shot 5 times by a Border Patrol agent who bragged about it on text? Or the family of Keith Porter, a father of 2 shot and killed by an off-duty ICE agent in LA? Or the family of Silverio Villegas Gonzalez, shot and killed in Illinois minutes after he dropped his kids off at school? There's no sign of any movement at the Department of Justice. You even launched a criminal investigation into Renee Good's grieving widow. How sick is that? But it's even worse. You've turned the People's Department of Justice into Trump's instrument of revenge. Trump orders up prosecutions like pizza, and you deliver every time. He tells you to go after James Comey, Letitia James, Lisa Cook, and Jerome Powell, the head of the Federal Reserve Board, and members of Congress like Adam Schiff, Mark Kelly, Alyssa Slotkin, Chrissy Houlihan, Jason Crow, Chris Deluzio, and Maggie Goodlander, to name a few, and you snap to it. You replace real prosecutors with counterfeit stooges who robotically do the president's bidding. Nothing in American history comes close to this complete corruption of the justice function and contamination of federal law enforcement. And the good news is many serious lawyers at DOJ, including some of your own original appointees, have refused your lawless orders. Danielle Sassoon, your original pick for acting U.S. Attorney in Manhattan, resigned rather than follow your corrupt order to quash an indictment against Mayor Eric Adams as a political favor from Donald Trump. A Federalist Society member who clerked for Justice Scalia, U.S. Attorney Sassoon refused to participate in this blatantly corrupt scheme. Her top assistant, Hagen Scotton, an Iraqi war vet and two-time Bronze Star recipient who clerked for Chief Justice Roberts, and then Judge Kavanaugh, promptly resigned too, writing to your office, quote, "I expect you will eventually find someone who is enough of a fool or enough of a coward to file your motion, but it was never going to be me." You and the president nominated Eric Siebert, a 15-year career prosecutor, to be your U.S. attorney for the Eastern District of Virginia. But after 5 months of investigating Letitia James and James Comey, he found no evidence to justify criminal charges. So you forced him out. You replaced him with Lindsay Halligan, Trump's personal lawyer from the Mar-a-Lago documents case, who had zero prosecutorial experience and no qualifications. And then you were humiliated when a federal judge found that this corrupt appointment was blatantly unlawful and threw out Halligan's indictments entirely. And grand juries of American citizens have repeatedly rejected your vendettas and baseless indictments brought by the hacks left at DOJ now, with 2 different grand juries in Virginia voting down indictments against Letitia James in a single week. And just yesterday, another grand jury shut down your vendetta factory by rejecting indictments against
So here's my general feeling. Like, every single thing he's bringing up are blatantly corrupt. The problem is, if you don't punish the Republicans when you have power, then you just make this the way it goes from now on.
6 members of Congress who had spoken out to remind all service members that they have a duty to refuse illegal orders. You tried to get a grand jury to indict 6 members of Congress who are veterans of our armed forces on charges of seditious conspiracy simply for exercising their First Amendment rights. I hope you will heed the wisdom and the constitutional patriotism of those grand jurors and not try it again by doubling down on that humiliation. As your best lawyers are sacked for having participated in the January 6th case or just flee for the exits now, your new lawyers keep lying in court. In dozens of cases, they've been excoriated for lying to federal judges. Chief Judge Boasberg, right here in D.C., suggested your Department of Justice perpetrated a fraud on the court. Other judges found your statements to be, quote, inexplicably misleading, patently incredible, totally inconsistent, and so disingenuous that the court is left with little confidence that the government can be trusted to tell the truth about anything. Now, as ranking member, I asked the chairman to add a few extra rounds of questions today because we each have 5 hours of questions, not 5 minutes, but we're stuck with 5 minutes. That's clearly insufficient to give voice to America's victims and survivors and to demand answers about all the corruption and cover-ups that we see at DOJ right now. We've got just 1 round, so we ask you politely but firmly, Madam Attorney General, please do not waste 1 second of our precious time by evading questions, by changing the subject, or engaging in personal attacks against members of Congress. We saw your performance in the Senate, and we're not going to accept that. This isn't a game. In the Senate, you brought something with you called a burn book, a binder of smears to attack members personally for doing the people's work of oversight. Please set the burn book aside and answer our questions. And when you hear us reclaim our time, that means it's time for you to stop speaking. We only have 5 minutes, so when we reclaim our time, that means you stop. And if you don't, we will ask the chair to stop the clock and let you go on his time. The quality of justice in America depends on the character of our government. Please do your job and bring the Department of Justice back from the brink. The survivors seated behind you and the American people watching everywhere deserve a Department of Justice worthy of its name. I yield back, Mr. Chairman.
Without objection, all of the opening statements will be included in the record. We will now introduce today's witness. The Honorable Pamela J. Bondi has served as the Attorney General of the United States since February 5th, 2025. She previously served in the office of the White House counsel, 2 terms as the Florida Attorney General, and spent more than 18 years as a prosecutor. We welcome our witness and thank her for appearing today.
Pam Bondi is what the average prosecutor looks like and acts like. Just so you know, like Pam Bondi, if you were to go and go to your like local DA's office and talk to somebody, this is what they would be like. So prepare yourself.
Begin by swearing
These
you
are the
in.
people deciding not to prosecute after you get raped.
And would you please,
because
Rob,
they say, "What were you wearing?" And you drank the drink. That's Pam Bondi.
rise and raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm under penalty of perjury that the testimony
I
you're
mean, the fact that Donald Trump made her attorney general, like, I'm sorry, but he's such a fucking God. I wish I wasn't so woke, dude. I wish that there was a space that you could exist in where you could be woke, but you could also just be plain spoken. And there's no way, like, I have to choose between, I would rather exist in a space where I'm the most evil person there because I am very good. But I gotta say, like, Donald Trump is a capital freak. He's a capital A asshole.
about to give is true and correct to the best of your knowledge, information, and belief, so help you God. Let the record show that the witness has answered in the affirmative. Thank you. You can be seated. And please know that your written testimony will be entered into the record in its entirety. Accordingly, we ask that you summarize your testimony. Madam Attorney General, you may begin.
Thank you. Thank you, Chairman Jordan, Ranking Member Raskin, and distinguished members of this committee. Thank you for hosting me here today. I'm grateful for the opportunity to answer your questions, highlight the work of our department, and discuss the most important topic of all, keeping the American people safe. A little over a year ago, I was sworn into office as the 87th Attorney General of the United States. I came into office with the goal of refocusing the Department of Justice on its core mission after years of bloated bureaucracy and political weaponization. The Department of Justice's core mission is to fight violent crime, protect the American people, and defend the rule of law above all else. While our work is never done, we have made tremendous progress to make America safe again. In 2025, we saw the lowest murder rate in 125 years. That's nothing short of historic. If you compare 25 to 24, here's what you'll find. The murder rate is down 21%, robbery down 23%, carjacking down 43%, gun assault down 22%, ag assault, burglary, could go on and on. Crime is declining. This did not happen by accident. The numbers tell an important yet straightforward story. President Trump has given us the resources, the support, and the leadership to protect the American people. President Trump's policies have saved lives. I cannot think of a policy outcome more important than protecting the lives of American citizens. Can you? This trend has been especially clear in Washington, D.C. and in Memphis. These are two iconic American cities that spent years in the grip of horrific violent crime.
Memphis, like, it's so funny how, like, deep red states have horrible gun violence, and they'll be like, God, the damn Democrats, they did it again. And it's like, the deep red states are where all the slaughter happens.
The Department of Justice surged.
Okay, this is so fucking...
Law enforcement...
I don't want to listen to her rambling because it's fucking boring. I want to get to the questions. Okay, Issa is a Republican from California who's going to lose his seat. Bye-bye. Bye-bye, gerrymandered. Bye-bye, gerrymandered. Bye-bye. Bye-bye, Issa. You lost your seat. You're getting gerrymandered out of your seat. Bye-bye. 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 Bye-bye.
Good morning, Attorney General Bondi, right here. We are joined in this room by some of the thousands of survivors from Jeffrey Epstein's horrific sex trafficking ring. They have shown such credible courage in speaking out, in demanding accountability to bring the predators and pedophiles to justice. The Epstein Files Transparency Act required your Department of Justice to disclose the perpetrators connected with Epstein's criminal activities and to redact the information of survivors to protect their identities. Let me show you what actually happened. First, in violation of the law, your department has shown a pattern of redacting the names of powerful predators. Here behind me is one example of an email from Epstein to a man whose name was redacted. The email reads, quote, "Where are you? Are you okay? I loved the torture video."
Now, chat, I don't know if you guys remember, this is a deep cut, but during the protests, the height of the protests in New York over the genocide in Gaza, a Obama-era national security advisor went up to a food truck that had a Palestinian flag in its window, and he threatened to kidnap the guy and send him to Egypt to be tortured. Now, that is what the Democratic Party is. And that was the mask coming off. America has alliances with multiple fascist and theocratic governments and absolute monarchies, which we use to torture dissidents. So when Jeffrey Epstein was getting a torture video, he was getting it from an emir, one of America's allies that we provide protection for. And whenever there is somebody out there who's trying to organize their country to improve their conditions, let alone, stand against America's hegemony, they get kidnapped and tortured in one of our allies. That's what the torture video was.
Only after members of Congress demanded that we see the unredacted files did the world learn the name of this individual, Sultan Ahmed bin Sulayem, the chairman and CEO of a company that had financial ties to President Trump's business and personal ties to Trump's advisor, Steve Bannon. Second, the survivors were not similarly protected, also in violation of the law. Here is another email titled Epstein Victim List. We have blurred the names of the survivors for their protection, but your Department of Justice initially released this list of 32 survivors' names with only one name redacted, along with numerous files that disclose not only the names, the emails, and the addresses of survivors, but also nude photographs and even the identities of Jane Does who had been protected for decades until your department released their names. Survivors are now telling us that their families are finding out for the first time that they were trafficked by Epstein. In their words, quote, "This release does not provide closure. It feels like a deliberate attempt to intimidate survivors, punish those who came forward, and reinforce the same culture of secrecy that allowed Epstein's crimes to continue for decades." To the survivors in the room, if you are willing, please stand. And if you are willing, please raise your hands if you have still not been able to meet with this Department of Justice.
Unfortunately,
please know for the record that every single survivor has raised their hand. Attorney General
that was pretty good. That was a pretty good move. I like that. That was a pretty sweet move.
Bondi, you apologized to the survivors in your opening statement for what they went through at the hands of Jeffrey Epstein. Will you turn to them now and apologize for what your Department of Justice has put them through with the absolutely unacceptable release of the Epstein files and their information?
Congresswoman, you sat before, Merrick Garland sat in this chair twice.
Attorney General Bondi,
No, can I finish my answer?
No, I'm going to reclaim my time because I asked you a specific question that I would like you to answer, which is, will you turn to the survivors? This is not about anybody that came before you. It is about you taking responsibility for your Department of Justice and the harm that it has done to the survivors who are standing right behind you and are waiting for you to turn to them and apologize for what your Department of Justice has done.
Members get to ask the questions, the witness gets to answer in the way they want to answer. The Attorney General can
that's
respond.
not accurate, Mr. Chairman.
Because she doesn't like the answer. So,
Mr. Chairman,
why
I have asked
didn't she ask Merrick Garland this?
I am reclaiming my time, and when I reclaim my time, it is
Mr. Chairman, the gentlelady's reclaimed her time.
I'm not going to get in the gutter for her theatrics.
The time belongs to the gentlelady. The gentlelady has 17 seconds.
Thank you. You're not going to answer this question, so let me just
Chairman,
say
I'll
this.
direct it to
What a
you.
massive
No, I'm
cover-up.
answering a
Mr.
question.
Chairman, will you restore her time? The witness is
I'm not gonna get
interrupting.
in the gutter with this woman.
Stop the
She's
time
doing theatrics.
and let me have my
The
time.
gentlelady from Washington controls the time. The gentlelady has 17 seconds. You can proceed with your final
Thank you.
17 seconds.
What a massive cover-up this has been and continues to be. Donald Trump made the release of the Epstein files the center of his political campaign because he thought it would benefit him. Then you got into office, Attorney General, claimed to have a client list, only
Regular
to
order.
then say that there was no list. Your deputy, Todd Blanche, met alone with Ghislaine Maxwell and transferred her to a minimum security prison. And now you continue the cover-up. And I wish that you would turn around to the survivors who are standing right behind you and on a human level,
Chairman,
the chair now recognizes the chair.
And what you have done.
The time of the gentlelady expired. The gentlelady, you have no time to yield back. We appreciate that. We appreciate the thought. And I would argue the central issue in the last election, the presidential election, was securing the border. The gentleman from Arizona who knows something about securing the border is up.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you, Attorney General Bondi, for being here today. In 2022, Lafarge, which is a French cement company, pled guilty in U.S. federal court to participating in a criminal conspiracy with ISIS. That conspiracy contributed to the deaths of U.S. service members fighting in Syria during Operation Inherent Resolve. As part of the plea agreement, Lafarge was required to pay more than $775 million into DOJ's asset forfeiture fund. In February 2025, my colleagues and I sent you a letter urging the department to review the petitions for remission submitted by the families of those fallen service members, including several of my constituents. The previous administration ignored these victims and our requests and left their petitions unresolved. My question for you on this particular...
Okay, I want to get to more interesting shit than just conservatives grandstanding about irrelevant side issues. We're here to talk about the Epstein files and how you're covering up for the pedophiles.
With us today. I want to thank all of you for your bravery in speaking out. I want to say that you and the other survivors of these heinous crimes...
All right, before we go, I just saw something that I need to bring up. Apparently, Charlie Kirk's widow has removed from her background the wedding photo of her with Charlie Kirk. Erica Kirk removed their wedding photo from her background. She left the pile of books to shill for. We are Charlie Kirk. We carry the flame. All right, sorry, let's keep going.
Deserve better from this department. In particular, it is shocking that the department did not redact the names of Epstein's victims, but it did redact the names of their abusers. I don't know whether this was done out of incompetence or whether it was deliberate and malicious, but either way, it is completely unacceptable. Even more troubling, the DOJ has failed to bring any of these perpetrators to justice. Instead, it has engaged in a relentless pursuit of Donald Trump's perceived enemies. I want to focus on just one example. The Attorney General of my home state of New York, Tish James. This DOJ has been hell-bent on securing an indictment against Ms. James for something, anything, simply because she held Donald Trump's companies accountable for years of financial fraud. And indeed, the department manufactured an investigation against her for alleged, quote, mortgage fraud. But the U.S. attorney leading the investigation, Eric Siebert, a Trump appointee, refused to bring charges against Ms. James because there was simply no evidence. Unfortunately, a prosecutor who refuses to do Trump's bidding has no place in this DOJ, so Mr. Siebert was forced out. Trump could not contain his fury that he expressed to you in a social media post addressed to you by name. I'm sure you've seen it. I fired him, and there is a great case he wrote to you about, Mr. Siebert. Then we moved down. We can't delay any longer. It's killing our reputation and credibility. They impeached me twice and indicted me 5 times over nothing. Justice must be served, and obviously, you followed that order. Lindsay Halligan, Trump's former defense lawyer who had never prosecuted a case in her life, was installed to replace Mr. Siebert, and it was clear that part of her mandate was to go after Ms. James. Halligan immediately sought an indictment, which a court dismissed because Halligan was illegally put into the role. But your department was undeterred, and not once, but twice, it tried to indict Attorney General James in separate courts. Both grand juries rejected you and refused to indict her. It is practically unheard of for a grand jury to refuse an indictment. In 2016, it happened in just 6 cases.
All right, chat. I'm sorry. We're skipping past Nadler. He's practically going to die. He's too boring for me.
To the Attorney General, if she has anything to add.
I'm fine to continue. Thank you, Chairman.
All right. The chair now recognizes, the gentleman yields back. The chair recognizes
for the tier 1.
Gentlelady from California.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would note that Mr. Nadler's question has not yet been answered, but I want to start by asking that out of respect for the American public and the Epstein survivors, some of course are here today, that we can have a transparent, the public the answers they deserve. I want to briefly direct your 2 documents we will put up on the screen. In the first, an individual emails Jeffrey Epstein asking whether a woman identified as M was pro or civilian, and Epstein responds that she was a civilian Russian. In the second email, Epstein writes to Steve about a Ukrainian girl, noting that she was, quote, a little freaked out by the age difference and stating that he would try to convince her not to return to Ukraine. He then...
I talked about this the other day, chat. Ukraine was notorious and is notorious as a hotbed for human trafficking. And this is before the Russian invasion as well. And it's only gotten exacerbated by the war. It was a hotbed of human trafficking, child sex abuse. Ukrainian girls are some of the most abused girls on the planet. It's very fucking sad. And so the fact that they're talking about Ukrainian girls and age difference, this is child rape.
Instructs Mr. Tisch to call him, adding, I don't like records conversations. So I'd like to ask a straightforward question that really is either a yes or no answer. Do these emails constitute credible evidence, not proof, but credible evidence warning further investigation into whether Steve Tisch was involved in Epstein's? Do you think yes or no?
I'm not going to play a yes-no game with you, but I will answer the question to the best of my ability.
You literally skipped the best part of this so far. Chad is saying that Bondi crashes out from Nadler's boring. I'm sorry, Chad. Just link me it then. Link me the Nadler crash out. We're going to continue. But I can't sit there and listen to Nadler. He's too boring.
I said, we will look and investigate.
All right, here you go. Thank you. You fucked up your link.
I mean, you can let her filibuster all day long, but not on our watch. Not on our time. No way. And I told you about that, Attorney General, before you started.
You don't tell me.
Yeah, oh, I did tell you because we saw what you did in the Senate.
Lawyer, not even a lawyer.
Committee will be in order.
Time, and I should get back at least 45 seconds.
We will give you a few more.
Here's the thing that you need to understand about these people. This is what you need to understand about these people. They're fucking trash. And when you're dealing with trash, when you're dealing with scum, then you have to take the trash out. And this is why it's necessary that my politics, I need to start advancing my politics. The problem with upper middle class people like myself, which is what I am now, is that they like to perform like they're cultured. They like to perform like they are dignified. And unfortunately, society has degraded into a trash society. So the solution to that is not to become even more hoity-toity, pinky lifting, pretentious, and condescending. It's to roll up your sleeves, put on the gas mask, and rip out the fucking flamethrower and burn the trash. We need to crawl into it in our hands and knees and start burning.
Seconds. I said that already.
45 seconds.
Okay.
You can let her.
Okay, so the crash out was she assaulted someone. That's funny as fuck.
Investigate any case involving any victim. I'm not familiar. There
this
was
is
3
the
million
better version?
pages
Oh, thank God. I was going to say that was the best part.
How many of Epstein's co-conspirators have you indicted? How many perpetrators are you even investigating?
First, you showed it. I find it.
How many have you indicted?
Excuse me. I'm going to answer the question.
Answer my question.
No, I'm going to answer the question the way I want to answer the question.
No,
Your
you're going to answer
theatrics
the
are
question the
ridiculous.
way I asked it.
Chairman Jordan, I'm not going to get in the gutter with these people, but I'm going to answer the question.
How many have you indicted?
Again, the time belongs to
claiming my time.
How is that gutter? He asked how many people you indicted. Say 0 if the answer is 0. It's not the gutter, you fucking lose. But do you see how she's trying to hold frame? Yeah, see how she won't answer the question, even because the question makes her look bad? Hassan, you can't be outperformed by Pam Bondi, man.
The time
Well, I
belongs.
think it's very
Reclaiming
interesting.
my time.
I think it's very interesting.
You can't accept these dumb frames about how, would you vote for JD Vance or would you vote for Gavin Newsom over JD Vance? I'm still triggered. I'm still triggered over this. Say, I reject the question as worthless. Frame maxing. We need to frame max.
You can
When
reclaim
he
your
talks
time.
about they
Reclaiming my
indicted,
time, Mr.
the
Chairman.
president said they
Close the
indicted
clock.
him
Mr.
twice.
Chairman, please
They
stop the
sure
clock and
did.
stop
he
the clock and
indicted-
restore his time.
Okay, here we go with these
Committee will be in order.
theatrics.
The time
Reclaiming my
belongs
time
to the
and
gentleman
roll back
from
the
New
clock,
York.
please.
We will give you a few more seconds. We will do that. But when
Reclaiming
you ask
my-
a question, the witness
question
gets to
was-
answer. You may not like the answer, but she gets to
The
answer.
question was, how many of Epstein's...
They don't like the answer, Chairman,
my time.
because it's honest.
Reclaiming
So
my-
he asked a
Reclaiming my
4-minute question.
Restore 45
and
seconds to
I am
Mr. Nadler,
going
please,
to
Mr. Chairman.
Answer.
You can let her filibuster all day long, but not on our watch.
Reclaiming-
Not on our time. No way. And I told you about that, Attorney General, before you started.
You don't tell me.
Yeah, oh, I
anything,
did tell you because we
washed
saw
up
what you did in the
loser
Senate.
Lawyer, not even a lawyer.
Committee will be in order.
Time, and I should get back at least 45 seconds.
We will give you a few more seconds.
It's so funny for someone to like insult someone for not being a lawyer when they're a congressman. A congressman literally writes the laws that lawyers spend their entire lives studying. The purpose of a lawyer is to, like, a congressman is so far and above a lawyer that it's like, it's almost comical. It's comical to like, and he's also a lawyer and a law school professor, but those are less than a fucking congressperson. A congressperson is like at the commanding heights of our society, whether people like that or not. That is the reality of how things work. And it's very funny to insult him for that.
As I
Not a
said that
few more,
already.
45 seconds.
Okay, I'm timing right now, Mr. Nadler. Go
Reclaiming
ahead.
my time. The answer to my question, how many of Epstein's co-conspirators has she indicted, is 0.
Fuck. Okay, that was good. Thank you for showing me that.
With that email, but of course, we will look into anything. The documents have been released.
Oh my God, there's more crash out. It's better for us to see the crash
Oh,
out.
you're laughing. You're a great stock trader, as I hear, Raskin. The Dow is over 50,000 right now. The S&P at almost 7,000. And the NASDAQ smashing records. Americans' 401ks and retirement.
The Attorney General is talking about the Dow. Like, honest to God, what can you even say other than these people are pure fucking grifters? This is why we have to get the death penalty. It's because the political class in America is so fucking off the rails. They're so arrogant. They're so greedy. They're so transparently corrupt that the only way to get these people back on track is to start prosecuting the criminals and punishing them severely. And I know that this sounds very harsh, but let's be honest here. Like, they are ripping the copper out of the walls. They're cutting cancer funding for crypto scams. I don't know what else to say about it. They're cutting pediatric cancer research for crypto scams and AI slop. Like, what more can you say?
Savings are booming. That's what we should be talking about. We should be talking about making Americans safe. We should be talking about, what does a Dow have to do with anything? That's what they just asked. Are you kidding?
Mr. Jordan, Mr. Jordan.
Committee will be in order.
Mr. Jordan, am I going to get an extra 45 seconds added to my time?
The committee will be in order. The time belongs to the gentleman from Texas. Ms. Bondi, the Attorney General can respond.
Thank you. The Dow has shattered 50,000 for the first time. This is crazy. They said it couldn't be done in 4 years, yet President Trump has done it 1 year.
It's only going up 10% from where it was when Obama was in office, or excuse me, Biden was in office. It's not like it's some sort of incredible growth. It's a 10%. Like, it's not even, like, what? That's not even impressive. What are we talking about? Also, the Dow is a really poor index for a variety of reasons, one of which is it doesn't normalize between stock price. So the more, the bigger the nominal stock price, the more it boosts the Dow. It's very stupid. It's actually the dumbest index. Of all the indexes, the Dow is the dumbest index. That's why nobody serious actually talks about it. They talk about the S&P 500. We're all gonna die, dude. Like, legitimately, it's so weird that I became a successful streamer, and I think about what I would be doing if I wasn't a successful streamer right now. You know, if my life was in a slightly different path, and I'm like, oh man, oh boy. Unless really bad things start happening to bad people, like very soon, I don't know if the human race is going to make it.
3 million. The redacted versions, we left them open for all of you to come view. Have you? I believe you view them. If not, will you have some copies?
I'd like to.
Could I finish, please? I'm not being rude. Please.
I only have 5 minutes.
No, yeah, and I only have 30 seconds based on your filibustering.
Well, you didn't give a yes or no
California.
answer, so let me just go further. Director Patel testified in this committee room that there was no credible information indicating that Epstein trafficked victims to anyone else. And glancing at the documents, that proves that's not the case. In July, your department issued a memo stating that it had conducted an exhaustive review of the Epstein files and concluded that no additional individuals would be charged. So I did go over to the Department of Justice yesterday. I would note that 400 and our 35 members are in the House, and there's 4 computers. So it would take many months to actually have the time. I only had a few hours. I think the transparency argument is really kind of a sham because it's not really possible.
Whoa. Did you have to wait to get a computer?
It is not possible to really go in. I did, however, see a U.S. attorney information for the Southern District of New York indicating that there were additional survivors and probable co-conspirators. Other members of Congress have uncovered likely co-conspirators whose names were blocked out. The Epstein File Transparency Act, which all but one member of this House voted for and the president signed, requires the department to release everything except that it needs to be redacted to protect the victims or an ongoing prosecution, which apparently there is none from the testimony we have received. I am concerned that this act has not been fully complied with. When Director Patel came to the committee, he admitted that up to 1,000 FBI agents had gone through the files and—
Chat, there's been this former CIA agent who's been going viral on TikTok lately, and I think the CIA agent might be becoming left-wing, and it's actually hilarious. I don't know, it's kind of freaking me out. John Kirakow, I think that is his name. Yeah, I think that might be right. And it was like, oh no, no. There's so many ops in the left now. Oh no. Oh no. Don't try. There's no such thing as former CIA.
Redacted President Trump's name from them. And it's pretty clear that what has been transmitted from the FBI continues to redact President Trump's name, even though he is mentioned, thousands of times in these files. So I think the credibility of the department in terms of complying with the act has been damaged. And I think the department's credibility has been damaged in other ways. I think we all saw the horrible video of American citizens being killed by ICE agents in Minneapolis. And I think how the department has handled these cases raises a lot of doubt about the department. State and local police in Minnesota got a court order to get access to the crime scene to be sure evidence would be properly preserved by federal agents. They took the agents defied the court order, and in a departure from general policy, the DOJ is not collaborating with state and local law enforcement on these homicides. So I really think that is a disgraceful to the homicides of American citizens and really does nothing to bring credit to your department. And Mr. Chairman, I would yield back.
Gentlelady yields back.
May I answer?
Attorney General can respond.
I find it interesting that she keeps going after President Trump, the greatest president in American history. And if they could
Are you guys getting? Are you starting to agree with me more and more? Are you starting to agree with my takes about punishment and elite impunity and the just? I don't know what else to say. Like, if you can look at the history of this country and you say Donald Trump was the greatest president, we need that. We need the hitman from No Country for Old Men. Can you stand still real quick? Just hold there. Stand still. Donald Trump is the greatest president we've had. Donald Trump. What's Pam reward for doing all this? What's she doing this for? Okay. I sometimes forget that people don't know how the world works. I want to answer your question. I want to answer your question, but I want to explain it in a way that gives you deep knowledge and a rabbit hole so that you can fall down. Okay. America has an elite class, a ruling class, and the people that are at the commanding heights have what's known as the revolving door, and they pass between government jobs, high-level corporate positions, and then Washington, D.C. based nonprofits and think tanks. And once you ascend to the level of cabinet secretary, attorney general, governor, senator, select Congress people get this position as well. You are now in the elect, and you will become a multi-millionaire, and you will have tremendous power and influence for the rest of your life. Attorney generals are oftentimes hired by big law firms, which are legal, corporations that are around legal practice that have, literally hundreds of attorneys working for them, where lead partners will make something like $25 million a year salary. Okay, attorneys general become wealthy, powerful people of the hyper elite. By becoming attorney general, Pam Bondi is probably going to end her life, unless she ends it up in prison, she's going to end up probably with $100 million plus. She was a fucking barely literate moron. We're talking about we're talking about power that is hard to explain to regular people. You live in capitalism. Many of the people that rule over you, you've never known their name. Pam Bondi, because of her political acumen, has managed to rise to attorney general because she understood that Donald Trump wanted a sycophant, wanted a puppet, wanted a person who was fully and completely corrupt. And she did that. And she has been rewarded for it. If you want to know about the revolving door between lobbying, government, it is a concept that has been talked about in political science for a very, very long time. It's a core problem with liberal democracies. Okay. And it's very important to understand this is how all Western democracies work. They have these revolving door systems where the hyper elite capitalists control society. This is the function, and it's not a conspiracy theory or anything like that. This is mainstream political science. Nobody disagrees with this. The right wingers just say it's good. Right wingers say this is actually good because, they're the experts. Like, who's better to regulate coal plants than a guy who owns a coal factory or a coal mine or a coal power plant? Of course, he knows the most about coal. So he should be in charge of regulating coal. That's what conservatives say. Yeah. I hope I answered your question in a way that was satisfying and illuminating, and I hope I get you on a rabbit hole, because fighting the revolving door is one of the main political goals of the left. We want to have what we call political bans, that anybody who serves in the government is banned from working in the industry that they regulate. Like, we want to ban people from becoming lobbyists after they were ever legislators or worked in politics at all. In fact, we want to ban political lobbying, and we want to have publicly financed elections, meaning that people don't have to ask for campaign contributions. They win their party primaries, and then the government gives both sides equal money to make their arguments. Like, that's what we're advocating for. We want to create structures that eliminate this kind of corruption. We want to make rules that eliminate this type of corruption. We want to make systems that focus on what is democratically popular and what is effective public policy, not have systems like this. Okay, wait a minute. Navy says what? That's the only thing I've heard today that is true. No CIA is former. I know this personally. Look at how Bondi caused you to lose your shit. I love it. Do it again, Pam. Okay, well, this is the problem with, everybody don't at this guy. The problem is, you say you're educated and an engineer and a veteran, but you didn't react to Pam Bondi saying any argument. You reacted in a tribalistic way. You are no better than like a Cro-Magnon man. You say, she made you mad, ha 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 ha. That was literally your argument. That's your educated brain. Did you learn that in law school? Did she make, she made you mad, Mike? I mean, you think if your position is so correct, you would debate the points that I'm making. Okay, let's keep going.
Maintain their composure. This isn't a circus. This is a hearing. I find it interesting she keeps going after Donald Trump. She doesn't say how much money she took from Reid Hoffman, did you? None. And nor did
Mr. Chairman, regular order, please.
She
regular
posted
order.
nothing on her X account, on her Twitter account, during the Biden years.
Gentle lady.
Yet
Chairman,
now,
there
all
was
of
no
a sudden,
question
she's
asked.
going after
Committee will be in
point of
order.
There was no
Committee will
question
be in
asked of
order.
the Attorney General. She doesn't just get to speak.
Committee will be in order.
I have a point of order, Mr. Chairman.
Committee will be in order.
Point of order, Mr.
Gentle
Chairman.
lady can state her point of order.
When a witness attacks...
Not a valid point of order. You got to state.
She hasn't completed her point of order yet. Please let her speak, Mr. Chairman. Let's have some regular order here.
Regular order is you got to state the rule. And
I am trying to make a point of order that the witness,
And what rule are you referring to?
without responding to a question, has attacked me personally. I think it's that she can't answer the questions and
First
instead
time
is
that
attacking
is not even close
members
to a
of the
point of
committee.
order. The gentleman from Wisconsin is recognized.
In August of last year, I sent a letter to the Department of Justice asking for assistance in seeking compensation for the town of Lac du Flambeau. Town of Lac du Flambeau is in my district, and your office replied that it was an ongoing matter and unable to comment on it, which I understand. That's just fine. But I want to set this up just as a reminder. So 3 years ago, it was at this time of year that 4 roads were blockaded in the town of Lac du Flambeau, and the temperature was 25 below zero. People had to park their cars at a neighbor's place, take the snowmobile across the lake to get their car, and then be able to drive into town. There were people 80 and 90 years old that could not, were very concerned that they'd be able to get emergency medical services. And the perpetrators of this, the tribe out there, they demanded compensation from the town. I would call it extortion. They ultimately got $600,000 from the town of Lac du Flambeau. The unfortunate part, Mr. Chairman, is that the Biden administration took the side of the perpetrators, closed those roads off, and the Biden administration made it clear to the town of Lac du Flambeau that we are not on your side in regards to this. Well, fortunately, there was a federal judge that said, no, this is wrong, what happened, and these roads should be left open, they should continue to be left open. My question to you is, are you willing to work with my office and with the town of Lac du Flambeau to further investigate this matter and seek compensation from the tribal government after their extortion of $600,000 from this little town in northern Wisconsin?
Congressman, you do a great job representing your district. And yes, we would.
Doing anti-Native American propaganda in 2026, that's ancient racism. That is like, that's going back, like that is 19th century racism. This guy's pulling out the old fucking shit. This is Andrew Jackson shit. Yeah, what the fuck? That's nasty.
It's established when Colin is confirmed. He's
okay,
amazing.
we're gonna skip ahead to Mr. Cohen.
For being brave and trying to move this justice forward. I apologize, Attorney General, not recognizing it. I am from Memphis, General Bondi, and Memphis does have the task force. The Memphis Safe Task Force has been operating in Memphis for several months, and we do have a Democratic Mayor, Paul Young, and he's not against the tax, but he is against ICE being in Memphis, and he's not in favor of the National Guard being in. And I concur with him on those positions. I think the DEA being there, the alcohol, tobacco, and firearms, the FBI, who have been in Memphis in other ways, having people there is good for Memphis. Crime has gone down in Memphis, but it went down 25% before the task force got there under the direction of Mayor Young and Director Davis, Chief Davis. It's gone down about 15% more since then, and that's good. But I would like to comment that Mexico City's homicide rate has gone down 40% during the same time when Memphis has only gone down 25%. And that's not necessarily because of the task force, although the mayor says he thinks it's helped. So I thank you for that. You would agree, I presume, that violent crime across our country is critically important, and that's why the task force is there. Is that not true?
Yes, and if I can just add to that, I think the surge, the FBI, our FBI under the leadership of Director Patel came in and did a surge in Memphis.
Earlier.
Prior to the task force.
Yeah,
and thank you for saying that about Mayor Young. He's been great to work with, and thank you.
He's a good guy.
He's a very good guy.
One problem I've got with where we are in priorities here. A recent Department of Justice National Institute of Justice report based on arrest records in Texas and in California found that undocumented immigrants were less than half as likely as U.S.-born Americans to.
Do we have a new fucking copy pasta over that guy? Oh, come on. Back-to-back copy pastas. We got a copy pasta yesterday. Now we have a copy pasta today. We're just firing away with all the copy pastas. It's crazy. How many can we get in one fucking day? God damn it.
be arrested for homicide. And this pattern holds for assault, sexual assault, robbery, burglary, theft, and arson. Half as likely to be arrested for drug offenses. So I ask you, and I've written to you about this, there are TV ads to local law enforcement. Are you tired of having your hands handcuffed because you can't do the things you wanted to do when you joined? And if you want to do something different, join ICE, and you'll get a $50,000 bonus, and we'll pay off your debts, student debts, and we'll help you with pensions, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So they're encouraging local law enforcement to leave local law enforcement and go to work for ICE. We need people working in the front lines and local law enforcement to protect our citizens from the worst of the worst. The worst of the worst are not the immigrants. The worst of the worst, records show, are native-born Americans, and they are committing crimes that hurt our citizens and our cities, and you're working against it, and thank you for that. But by trying to get our local law enforcement, where we have under officers in Memphis, to leave Memphis and go to work for ICE to deport people is a wrong priority. Why are we trying to get people, policemen who are working on the front lines, to leave the front lines, take the $50,000 and go to work for ICE instead of working the worst of the worst?
Oh my God, chat. I went viral on Billy again. I need to get Billy. Okay, fuck you Americans. I'm going to China. You Americans are not, fuck you guys. You guys are not ready. You're not ready for my takes yet. But your kids will be.
中国去年下水的军舰规模堪比一个中等强国的整支海军。你明白这
179,000 views. What the fuck? I can't get a YouTube video like this. Come on. All right, hold on, chat. My fucking bank's calling me. I can't ignore that.
Congressman, I have not yet seen that commercial, that ad. I would argue that we need strong people in both local law enforcement, state law enforcement, and all of our federal agencies working together. I've seen some of the worst violent criminals who were in this country illegally. We both know that. And in Memphis, working hand in hand, I want to stick with Memphis and your mayor and what you discussed, because there have been nearly 6,000 arrests as of February 8th, and I think you agree with this, in your district, and almost 600 gang members. What we found in Memphis, a lot of the gangs are local gangs. But 600 gang members were taken off the streets.
Time, because I've only 40 seconds. I'm going to agree with you.
Yeah.
I thank you for that.
And 148 missing children were recovered by all of us working together, and nearly 1,000 illegal guns were seized as a result of us working together.
And I don't disagree with some of the things you said, but there are questions about those children, but it's a different thing. The fact is, ICE is running rampant, and you are not investigating them. When they killed Mr. Prete and Miss Good, that was an execution, and you did not investigate it. And you tried to investigate her, Miss Good's widow, and you tried to investigate Mr. Prete. They were executed. Kristi Noem executed her dog, and that was wrong. And you should investigate those people, and you should investigate anybody that uses a weapon, in federal official or not, for civil rights violations. Now you.
See, get down in the dirt. Good job, Mr. Cohen. Now. That's right. Get down in the dirt.
Gentleman yields back his time. Madam Attorney General, anytime you need a break, just let us know. If not, we'll just keep going. The chair is now recognized for 5 minutes. Madam Attorney General, you're not allowed to exercise your constitutional rights in a way that tramples on someone else's, are you? No, you can't do that. I mean, you have a right to petition the government under the First Amendment. That doesn't mean you can come into this room and start screaming at Mr. Raskin or me or anybody else and disrupt a congressional hearing. You have a right to protest on the street, but that doesn't give you a right to go into the Capitol and disrupt Congress. Something these guys talk about every day. You can't do that. So when Don Lemon said that he was exercising his First Amendment free press rights, freedom of the press rights, that's not really accurate, because he was trampling on other individuals' rights. Is that true?
Chairman, we will always protect our churches and the freedom of religion. And yes, that's accurate.
First right mentioned under the First Amendment, freedom of religion, freedom to practice your faith the way you think the good Lord wants you to, right?
That's right, under the federal government.
And isn't it true that Mr. Lemon met at a shopping center with the rioters who entered City's Church in St. Paul met with them prior to marching to the church?
He did meet, and this is a pending case right now, so I will only stick to what is in the four corners of the unsealed indictment, if I could, Chairman.
Yeah, I'm
There's a lot more that will come out. But under the four corners of the indictment, yes, he did. They had an operation called Operation Pull-Up. They said they were gearing for a resistance. They met in a parking lot, and they caravanned to a church on a Sunday morning when people were worshiping together.
And Mr. Lemon said that he live streamed before entering the church with the rioters. Didn't he say we're going to head to the operation? Didn't he say this he said this on camera, is that right?
Yes, Chairman,
yeah.
And more.
That he was in Minnesota and that, as you said, they were gearing up for an operation. Again, you can't do that. This is why this is, I think, so important that this guy be held accountable, and I think why you guys have charged him and indicted him. Moving to the second subject here. Will John Brennan be indicted? Mr. Brennan lied to the committee, which you're not supposed to do. Last Congress, when we deposed him, he definitely, 18 U.S.C. 1001, we're all familiar with it. He lied to the committee, and the committee, the Congress, and I think the country would like to know if, in fact, he's going to be indicted for lying. And here's why it's so important. I'll give you a chance to respond. Here's why it's so important. It wasn't just that he lied to us, it's what he lied to us about. He lied to us about when all this weaponization against the President of the United States started. He lied to us about the dossier, and specifically what role the dossier played in the intelligence community assessment. Because we know back when President Trump was first elected, first term, this is when it all started, which led to the Mueller and to the impeachment and to the Jack Smith and all the stuff that's happened in the last decade. But it began here, and he lied to Congress about the role he played. And I just want to read a couple of things he said during that deposition before I give you a chance to respond. Mr. Brennan, when asked a question, said the CIA was not involved at all with the dossier. He said it was their purview, FBI's purview, and not ours. He also said the CIA was very much opposed to having any reference or inclusion of the Steele dossier in the intelligence community assessment. Well, that's interesting.
They're talking about the Steele dossier? It was paid for by Republicans, and then Hillary Clinton picked it up. The Steele dossier was paid for by Republicans. I think it was Marco Rubio, right? Or was it Jeb? I mean, what are we talking about? Is this guy picking sides? I thought he was like a moderator. Oh, you don't know how Congress works. Okay. The answer is he is in power. So he is a moderator in the sense that he makes the final decisions and he has the power. He doesn't have to act fair or whatever the fuck that even means. There will never be a revolution. There will never be progressive leadership. Keep blaming the liberals, even though it's the only lifeline poopy progressives got. We just like Andor, by the way. Cyber activism, we bad, China good. What are you fucking talking about? America has had progressive leadership many times. And every single time, it was the reason why our country has succeeded. Whether it was FDR's New Deal, whether it was the radical Republicans and the abolishment of the slave state, whether it was most of the progressive era, although I have problems with that era as well, whether it was the civil rights movement. America is only America because of the various times progressives gained power and made tremendous change. And every time they did, it was super fucking popular. Liberalism, by the way, you don't even know what it means. You don't even know what liberalism means. You're just defending the status quo. Stop calling yourself a liberal. You're just a status quo defender. If you believed in liberalism, you wouldn't be supporting Israel's genocide in Gaza. If you believed in liberalism, you wouldn't support America sanctioning Cuba or Venezuela. You wouldn't support policy after policy designed to interfere with the self-determination of countries around the world. I mean, it's like, come on, man.
Because declassified information that was declassified this past summer by the CIA says something entirely different. It says, Brennan, I want to put this one up if we have it. It says, Brennan ultimately formalized his position in writing, stating that, quote, this is released by the CIA Director Ratcliffe. My bottom line is that what I believe that information warrants inclusion in the report. He was further asked by an CIA official. The same officer said when he approached the director and asked that the director refused to remove it after being explained this wasn't good. With the dossier's many flaws, he said, yes, but doesn't it ring true? So this is John Brennan using that document to change intelligence community assessment, which I think led to all the stuff we've seen over the last decade. And I think this committee in the country, Congress in the country, would like to know if Mr. Brennan is going to be indicted.
What I can confirm is that we have received a referral from you, Chairman Jordan, to investigate John Brennan. His attorneys have made some public statements, but the department is still bound, of course, by our longstanding policy of not discussing matters. What I will say today, I can't confirm nor deny whether there is a pending investigation, but what I will say is no one is above the law.
Mr. Chairman,
Weaponization has ended.
Point of order, Mr. Chairman.
Gentleman from New York is recognized for a point of order.
If we want to know whether Mr. Brennan will be indicted, you should just ask the president.
Not a point of order, but I appreciate the gentleman from Georgia is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. General Bondi, it's been reported that there were at one point 1,000 personnel assigned to the task of identifying and scrubbing Donald Trump's name from the Epstein files. Were those reports accurate?
I believe his name has appeared countless times in the documents
how
that
many
have
people were
been released.
assigned?
If I could finish, I'm going to read you the stats.
I just simply asked whether or not it was true that it was 1,000 folks who were assigned that task. Were those reports accurate?
There are more than 500 attorneys and reviewers. I cannot give you an exact number.
And I wanted to ask you about that also, because this is a different question that you're getting to now. There were 500 DOJ lawyers and others assigned the task of redacting the appropriate information, including identities of the Epstein victim survivors from the Epstein files prior to their release. 500, is that correct?
If I could have finished my answer, there were more than 500 attorneys and reviewers who assisted with the. They asked the question and they don't want an answer.
That answers my question, ma'am, and I'm going to move on. I'm going to move on.
From multiple
Bondi, would you agree?
The time belongs to the gentleman from Georgia.
General Bondi, would you agree that your 8 years of service as the state of Florida's Attorney General, the third largest state
I mean, this is what's so funny about this stuff and the nature of the Pam Bondi Attorney Generalship is just how similar it is to watching something like 90 Day Fiancé, or how similar it is to watching kind of the trashy reality shows where they don't even do like, you know, they don't even send them on like little excursions. They're just sitting in a fucking dirty house that they rented. It's like bottom of the barrel Netflix reality TV. Not even like the good shit. You know, it is garbage. The Real Housewives of Mar-a-Lago. That's what it feels like. Theo said she would watch that. Can you imagine how disgusting the Real Housewives of Palm Beach or Mar-a-Lago would be? Oh my God. How has it not happened? How the fuck has it not happened?
Served as an excellent preparation for your current role as Attorney General for the United States of America.
Not only that, I was a career prosecutor for 18 years.
And for
18 years.
And for 18 years,
he asked a question and doesn't want an answer. This is theatrics.
Well, no, for 18 years, you prosecuted serious felony cases, including drug cases, correct?
Oh, I prosecuted homicides. I prosecuted capital cases. I prosecuted domestic violence cases. I prosecuted multiple cases, and that's why I feel for all of these victims. And did you ask Merrick Garland this when you were sitting before him, sir?
You also prosecuted sexual assault cases and child sex trafficking cases, correct?
I answered that question earlier. I prosecuted multiple cases when I was prosecuting.
Bottom line, you're an experienced and seasoned.
For 18 years.
Mr. Chairman, will you remind her of the rules? The time belongs to the member of the committee.
You are a seasoned and experienced prosecutor, correct?
I think we've established that.
Tell Vio the show exists. It's called Members Only Palm Beach. No! Why did I read that chat? No! Season 1 of ROH Miami had one of Epstein's lawyer on it, and he had a very sussy scene of a painting of their son. Blink.
Yes or no?
Does he want an answer or not?
I think he wants to say
I want a yes or no answer.
I think he wants to say
I want a yes or no answer, but I'll live with what you have already said. Let me ask you this question.
Clearly,
in the prosecution of sexual assault cases, you are acutely aware of how important it is to protect the identity of victims of sexual assault.
I have addressed this multiple times. I think others were cutting me off when I was trying to.
I just simply asked, are you aware of the fact that it's vitally important to protect the identity of sexual assault victims as you prosecute the people they accuse of assaulting them? Isn't that correct?
As we have said multiple times,
protection of the identity
of all victims
of the victims
are
is
protected.
so very
Who are
important.
protected under? Do you want me to answer or do you want to interrupt?
Well, because you're not answering the question. You do a Jekyll and Hyde kind of routine around here.
What the hell?
And I just want you to answer my question.
Jekyll and Hyde chat. VO, why did you make so many? Thank you so much. Look at this pile. Chat, I'm not trying to be like critical or ungrateful, right? I'm not going to eat 7 waffles. So you're saying you hate pancakes? True. Guess I'm on a bulk
What does
now.
Jekyll and Hyde mean? Can you explain
that? Well, it means you're nice to the Republicans and you turn like Hyde on Democrats. But let me ask you this, ma'am. We have the
you didn't give me a fork.
Victim survivors here today. Representative Jayapal asked a simple question. If you would be so kind and honorable as to turn around and face them and apologize to them for outing them. I mean, how many lives have been derailed because your department was either sloppy and incompetent or willfully trying to intimidate and punish these ladies for coming forward?
Which was it? The time of the gentleman has expired. The gentleman yields back. The chair now recognizes the gentleman from Wisconsin for 5 minutes.
She didn't
Attorney
answer.
General Bondi, my colleagues on the other side of the aisle have spent the past several months attacking the administration for doing exactly what the American people wanted when they overwhelmingly elected President Trump, securing our border and enforcing our immigration laws. I find it a bit ironic because this is the same party who just a few years ago were openly supporting strong immigration enforcement after witnessing criminal illegal aliens wreak havoc on the American communities. I have a short video I just wanted to play.
Of immigrants. We're also a nation of laws. Undocumented workers broke our immigration laws, and I believe that they must be held accountable.
They've committed a crime, deport them. No questions asked, they're gone.
No great nation can be in a position where they can't control their borders.
While we need to address the issue of immigration and the challenge we have of undocumented people in our country, we certainly don't want any more coming in.
Every place in this country are rightly disturbed by the large numbers of illegal aliens entering our country.
They're like, look at how Democrats are the exact same as Republicans.
Jobs they hold might otherwise be held by citizens or legal immigrants. The public service they use impose burdens on our taxpayers. That's why our administration has moved aggressively to secure our borders more, by hiring a record number of new border guards, by deporting twice as many criminal aliens as ever before, by cracking down on illegal hiring, by barring welfare benefits to illegal aliens.
Illegal immigration is wrong, plain and simple. When we use phrases like undocumented workers, we convey a message to the American people that their government is not serious about combating illegal immigration, which the American people overwhelmingly oppose. If you don't think it's illegal, you're not going to say it. I think it is illegal and wrong.
In the borders, my God, there's a lot of poverty in this world, and you're going to have people from all over the world, and I don't think that's something that we can do with this.
Yes or no, would you allow the cities to ignore the federal law?
No.
We simply cannot allow people to pour into the United States undetected, undocumented, unchecked, and circumventing the line of people who are waiting patiently, diligently, and lawfully to become immigrants in this country.
So, Attorney General Bondi, what's the Trump administration, DOJ, doing to end the open border policies of the prior administration that saw dangerous drugs?
The problem is we don't have an open border policy. Like the crisis that we have as a country in general is that the Democratic Party never ever actually passed immigration reform laws that could create fair and equitable pathways for people to become legal citizens and legal residents. And so we have these conversations about immigration without actually having a conversation about immigration. We have these conversations about what people imagine to exist rather than what actually exists.
And criminal aliens flood our communities.
Congressman, President Trump has worked tirelessly, as you know, to close our border, which is what the Democrats had asked for in that video. President Trump closed our borders on day one. He is protecting Americans. He is protecting our kids from the influx of drugs that were flowing into this country from Mexico. The fentanyl precursors that were coming from China. These precursors were taken from China into Mexico. And in Mexico, they were mixed and freely taken right into our country, along gang members, MS-13, TDA, freely coming into our cities around our country, thanks to Joe Biden's open border policies. That has stopped under Donald Trump. It will no longer happen under this administration, and he is doing everything to keep Americans safe. And let me continue. When he was elected overwhelmingly by the American people, the majority of the American people wanted Donald Trump. One of the main reasons was border security and keeping Americans safe. And that's exactly what he did. And that's why today the other side sits here, they yell, they cut me off, they want to yell, they want to ask a question and don't want answers because they want to distract from all the great things that this president and this administration working hand in hand, and that includes Secretary Noem, who has closed our borders, and Tom Homan, who has closed our borders to keep Americans safe. And they're trying to distract from that, and they're not going to do it because the American people are smarter than that, and they see through their theatrics.
Thank you. Just quickly, yesterday, Senator Grassley reached out to my office to tell me that I was one of the 20 members that was now disclosed were under surveillance from Jack Smith. This brings up the question of non-disclosure orders and whether or not they should apply to members of Congress. But with my phone records being surveilled, as well as looks like 19 other members of Congress, I'm just wondering how DOJ views that.
Time is, the gentleman's expired, but the gentlelady can respond.
As I stated earlier, Congressman, anyone's records who were illegally obtained, Democrat or Republican, we will fight vigorously to stop that. Anything with Arctic frost, I can't discuss.
And isn't it true, Madam Attorney General, the DOJ has changed their policy? You can't do that now. The DOJ is not going to go do that and ask the judge for an NDO.
Absolutely.
Yeah, good. That in and of itself tells you why how wrong it was. The chair now recognizes the gentleman from California.
Madam Attorney General, you acknowledged earlier to Mr. Johnson that President Trump was mentioned, the release, countless times you said, in the Epstein files. I just want to play a video, though, for you that I think speaks to the frustration that many of these victims have. Of times Trump's name appears in the files, so it could at least be 1,000 times. Is that right?
The number is a total misleading factor. We have not released anyone's name. We have not released anyone's name in the Epstein files that has not been credible.
Director, could it at least be 1,000 times?
We have released every piece of legally permissible information.
Okay,
you can characterize the numbers however you want it.
Claiming my time, Director. It sounds like if you don't know the number, it could at least be 1,000 times. Which
it's not. It's not.
Is it at least 500 times?
No.
Is it at least 100 times?
No.
Then what's the number?
I don't know the number.
I understand why the victims are frustrated. And the Attorney General acknowledged what Mr. Patel would not acknowledge, that it was way more than 1,000 times. But I want to move, Madam Attorney General, to weaponization of government. And yesterday it was reported that 6 members of Congress had indictments sought against him, and they were not returned by a grand jury. My colleagues have spoken about their frustration of being in subpoenas and having cell phone records combed through. Well, in 2017 and 2018, Adam Schiff and I had our cell phone records and email records combed through, not by you, but a different Department of Justice under the president. It was in retaliation for our role in the Russia interference campaign. An Inspector General report would find this improper and that the predicate for it was absurd. In 2020, after sitting on 2 committees that were a part of the president's first impeachment, an FBI agent leaked my cooperation in a national security case where my campaign was targeted. The president's FBI senior leadership authorized 2 statements to the press that said I was never suspected of wrongdoing and only helped the investigation. But that didn't stop the death threats or my GOP colleagues from referring me to an ethics investigation where Kevin McCarthy's chairman on the ethics committee would find the same thing as the FBI. Our current FBI director would then write a book called Government Gangsters and identify a long list of enemies. About a quarter of them have been either investigated or indicted. He listed me at the very top, along with Adam Schiff, and during that same testimony, refused to recuse himself when asked if he would recuse if any case came across his desk involving me or people on that list. Since that testimony, his department has put me under investigation with Senator Schiff.
I think she's licking Trump's balls because she thinks Trump has to choose between her and Kash Patel to fire next week. I mean, that's just what Trump likes. Trump likes when people are sycophantic.
Nonsense mortgage fraud cases. I get it. This is what the president does. I've priced it in. We have a bingo card at home that my kids have made of what will come next. I expected that the president would come after his enemies. But what I want to talk to you next is serious. And I did not expect this would happen. And I'd like your help on it. The president has inspired death threats against me and many sitting up here with me. In June 2025, an individual left 11 voicemails at my district office. On the voicemails, they said, get the message to him. I'm going to hunt him down, that motherfucker, and toss his ass over the Golden Gate Bridge by my fucking self. Donald Trump's Department of Justice in the Northern District of California declined to prosecute. On May 14, 2025, on Twitter, responding to something I posted, an individual said, no, it wasn't Eric, and now I'm going to kill you. The Department of Justice from the Southern District of Texas declined. May through December of 2025, we received messages at my office that said, I hope somebody shoots you and your children and your wife in the head. Pew, pew, motherfucker, pew, pew. I would stay indoors as much as possible, and my children, unfortunately, have to do that. The Department of Justice has not charged this individual and cited that he's a prolific caller and has health conditions, although what we have found in our own investigation and his voicemails is that he has said he will employ others to do this. The president can come after me. It's fine. I'm in the arena. So are these folks. But we never expected that the Department of Justice would not seek to prosecute and investigate those who are making threats against us. And that would include those on that side of the aisle. And I'm just asking for your help to protect life, because life is at risk with the environment we're in right now.
Congressman, I completely agree with you. I know about several of those personally involving you. I believe one has been charged publicly, and there's something I would be happy to talk to you about off camera, but I can assure you that they are very serious. They are being looked into, and I can give you more details on those. None of you should be threatened, ever. None of your children should be threatened. None of your families should be threatened. And I will work with, you can come into my office any day. I will work with all of you on both sides of the aisle if you are ever threatened. And I'll gladly talk to you after this hearing about your cases. But I can tell you some of them are very active.
Appreciate that. Now yield back.
She's like, we have a whole bunch of MAGA psychos threatening your life. So she agreed with him. That's the thing that's funny, is like all these conservatives will whine and bitch and moan about how unsafe they are, but they're not. They're not. Like, do you think that Asmongold gets death threats? Do you think Asmongold gets threatened? And then compare that to the amount of threats that somebody that he targets, like a trans creator that he targets, or a video game developer that he targets.
Gentleman yields back, and we're sorry for what the gentleman and his family have had to go through. We appreciate what the Attorney General said. Some of the things that the gentleman from California related, we can all relate to, and it's unfortunate, it's wrong as the Attorney.
Are you guys aware? Not to break away from the hearing too early, but were you guys aware that Destiny said that Ethan Klein? This is quoting Destiny. Destiny said, quick daily reminder that Ethan from H3H3 is likely a pedophile who has molested his own children. He said that back on January 26th at approximately 2:09 p.m. Were you aware that, as far as I know, Ethan Klein has not filed a lawsuit? Are you guys aware that Destiny said that Ethan Klein molested his children? Now, I'm not saying that he has. I have no firsthand knowledge. I'm just reporting on the fact that Destiny said it. And I'm wondering why Ethan Klein hasn't spoken about this on his podcast. Or has he filed a cease and desist or a retraction order to Destiny? If not, why not? I'm curious about that. In fact, he does get death threats, Mike. All right, hold on, Oliver. Yeah. Oh, Keir Starmer was just yelled out for appointing Epstein pedophiles?
Mr. Speaker, can I associate myself with the Prime Minister's remarks about the dreadful stabbing of 2 children in Brent and about the horrifying shootings in British Columbia? Our thoughts and prayers are with the children's parents and the people of Canada, especially those grieving the loss of loved ones. Mr. Speaker, to appoint one paedophile supporter cannot be excused as misfortune. To appoint 2 shows a catastrophic lack of judgment. The right honourable gentleman once told this House that when a Prime Minister refuses to take responsibility, and I quote, it only serves to convince people that things cannot get better, that governments cannot improve people's lives, and that progress is not possible because politics does not work. Does he still agree with himself? And does he share my fear that that is exactly what is happening now?
Minister. People in this country, millions of people, have been let down for years and years and years. And one of the reasons was austerity, which his party supported. He should take accountability and take responsibility for what he has inflicted on this country.
We are doing austerity. We're cutting spending, and we're increasing our military budget, and we're kissing Trump's ass. All right, chat. I want to take some time to have a little bit of fun because Chad, friend of the show, or friend of a friend, really. I wish was friend of the show, but has probably no idea who I am. Although I think we did speak at a party once for like 2 seconds. Chad is a really, really, really funny, comedic.
Hey guys, my name is Chad.
Internet culture commentator on YouTube. Highly recommend. And they have just put out a video called Everything is Rage Bait and I'm Sick of It. And if you don't know who Chad is, well, this is my opportunity to show you. We'll come back to the Epstein hearings. I'm getting a little bit bored, to be honest. She and many others are friends with Pinely, an Israeli YouTube who lives in US who did not speak about Palestine. I know Chad has spoken out about Palestine. You know what I mean? So I do think it's a little like, listen, I have no problem with you yelling at me about my position on Gaza. And I will let you know that I've been there since day one. I've been right about Palestine for years and years and years and years and years. I was doing streams about educating people about Palestine in 2019. Okay. Really, there's no space. So I will ask you, though, to not bother me with shit that's like, this is not stuff you said. This is not somebody the person you're talking about has said. This is something that somebody who's not the person you're talking about has said. That's too many layers, man. That's too many fucking layers. Okay, like I can't be expected to know everybody who knows. You know what I mean? Like, come on.
Chad. Not really. And every day I wake up, unfortunately, and see a clearly fake video on TikTok, like a pregnant woman spending $70,000 to climb Mount Everest.
Baby has been kicking a lot. I spent 70 grand getting here, and now they're all moving up without me. I don't know what to do.
But then I read the comments, and to my dismay, they are eating it up. This can't be real. You can't be serious. This just can't be real. You're right. It can't. I've been getting really annoyed with the internet over this. I'm pretty self-righteous also, because how do you miss the blurred out Sora logo in the corner of the video? Or how do you miss the literal word Sora being in the account's username? But then I had to stop asking myself those questions because the worst possible thing happened. They got my ass too.
Couples therapy.
This is Paul and Stacy. According to their bio, they are a fun family that refuses to grow up. And then they have their business email right after that, which is pretty grown up if you ask me. We'd love to collaborate with you and hear some of your thoughts on content strategy. Goo goo gaga. They make a lot of videos where the husband scares the wife and she freaks out.
This is why you shouldn't scare your wife.
Or he scares her and she hits him in the balls.
This is why you shouldn't scare your wife.
But no matter what happens, she is gonna scream like a boiling tea kettle. Harmless prank is the best. Harmless? He shocked her and then drug her off the bed. She came crashing to the floor. What do you think a harmful prank is? Murder? I have to sit back in this chair because my back is killing me. They're basically the equivalent of those early 2010 YouTube couple prank channels where you had to suspend belief in order to accept that they're possibly surprised by pranks anymore. Oh no, here comes my husband holding a DSLR camera. I sure hope he's not about to dump water on me like he did yesterday. And the day before that. And the day before that. And the day before. Basically, every video involves them terrorizing each other in some way.
Can I just say This is where I feel the most alienated from my fellow humans. Are you guys in like a fog? You know what I mean? Like, do you experience life? How sharp is life? Can you explain it to me? Because I look at this and I'm like, are we okay? You know, the slop content I like is about dogs being cute. If you want to show me slop content, show me puppies. Show me a golden retriever jumping into the pool. Or there's this one content creator I saw. They have a lab, and the lab really likes the pool. And the lab will not listen to his female owner. Every time she tells him to get out of the pool, he runs and jumps back into the pool. And she, that's cute. All right. This shit, like, come on, man. It has to be 5-year-olds, right? This is 5-year-olds.
But these aren't the ones that got me, okay? The one that fooled me was this one. I saw this months before I knew who they were, and I was like, yeah, accidents happen. Plus, this is low-quality security camera footage, and nothing has ever been faked on a low-quality camera, except for the moon landing.
This is like something off of a movie. Rom-com IRL. This looks straight out of a rom-com. Why do people keep saying that this is a rom-com? If anything, this is like a crime doc. Look at this. Watch this. Get this man on a stretcher. Get this man to the ER. And get this show on the road. The show being the sponsor segment, that is. This video is sponsored by Laylo. It's almost Valentine's Day, and why do the cliche things like get chocolates and roses when you can do yourself? Laylo offers premium quality, luxury design toys with innovative tech so that you and/or your—
Whoa, okay. I have to move beyond this ad because Twitch will ban me. Hold up.
Toys while you lay low, or sit down, or stand up, whatever gets you going. Thank you to Laylo for sponsoring, and let's get back to the video. I don't know what it is, but putting a date and timestamp in the corner of your video increases its believability on TikTok by about 75%. I think it's maybe because having security cameras inside your home is a fairly new concept we're being introduced to, so it's easier to fall for stuff like this when we're not used to people staging things this way. But Paul and Stacey aren't just staging pranks and injuries, they're also staging moments like this.
Let the little go so you can hold the big.
Aw, man, I hate when the water I put on the pot to boil starts to boil in the pot full of water that I put on the stove to boil. Nothing's going my way today. I love everyone losing their minds over the spaghetti noodles getting cooked a little too much. What are we gonna do? My ravioli is getting soft. Nothing's going my way. This whole thing is apparently enough of a disaster for her and her son to start screaming at the top of their lungs until the dad comes in to save the day. And not only does he come swooping in to do just that, but he comes in playing 1,000 Years by Christina Perri on his phone. He already had that playing. He already had that preloaded. Why would he do that? Why would his immediate reaction to both his wife and son screaming be to come in playing a song from Breaking Dawn Part 1? What if they were screaming because something actually terrible was happening? Dad, come quick! There's a guy in the kitchen wearing a mask and threatening us. He's saying—
Why did she have European outlets? Why does this image have European outlets? European outlets. Sussy.
Terrible things. You're toast. Oh my God, Dad, he's gonna kill us. No, you're toast. It's burning.
Because the photo was taken in Europe? You got me, Chad.
After he de-escalates the situation, the whole family shares a hug and sways to the music. And this is so weird. It's so weird and so strange, especially since their kid is involved.
One of their categories of videos is to just sit in the car and smash food into each other's faces while their kid sits in the back seat and fake laughs.
And songs we all pretend to know. Right now it feels ordinary.
Imagine being a kid and your parents are constantly making you act in TikTok videos where your role is yourself. A version of yourself that's having faux loving moments with your family. Not actual loving moments, but staged ones where there are millions of people and cameras watching you. Imagine how cool that would be. Dude, my life is like a movie because everything is scripted and there's not enough child labor laws in place to protect me.
Do you think they ever take their son to get ice cream and don't smash it in each other's faces in front of him? He's in the back seat. Like, guys, can I please just have an ice cream cone? For what? Can I just eat it this time, guys? Please.
I also kept...
I think about this like type of culture that we're creating, which is like people used to enjoy stories. Like we had family simulator content. Like, you know, you just had a dramatic movie that was 2 hours long or 90 minutes long about a family going through tragedy, you know, characters, different conflicts. You know, there was a story, there was some sort of, you know, lesson to be learned or maybe not, you know, various different explorations of these types of feelings. But all of that is like kind of going away and it's replaced by this type of slop. Like people say rom-com because we used to go to movie theaters and watch romantic comedies. But now it's like we have somebody getting hit in the head with a plank. It's like we are de-evolving. We're like falling into a pit. This is like Three Stooges, but at least they had the excuse of like, we just invented making movies, right?
Videos from this account that's promoting skincare products, and her thing is to walk up to strangers and put something on their skin without their consent.
No. Oh. No, this is not happening, no.
Oh, no, is it?
No, you need to back away from me right now.
And when they react angrily or tell her to go away, she just won't.
I was gonna try my product out on you.
No, I'm going to call the police. You're going to have to get away from me.
No matter how many times they tell her, no thank you, or we're not interested, she just keeps shoving it in their faces.
Oh my gosh. Excuse me. Please get back.
I know the saying all PR is good PR, but when it comes to selling products...
That saying is wrong. I would like to inform you all that that saying is said by people who don't know what it's like to ever have anything, don't know how to market. They're wrong. That saying is dumb as fuck. It's incorrect. If everybody's yelling at you, you know what happens? They don't do nice things for you. they just yell at you. Being famous or being infamous sucks. Unless there is a group of people that are polarized and supporting you, negative publicity is just negative publicity. That's not how it works. That's not how any of this works.
On TikTok, I don't know how beneficial it actually is to just make people think that you're a despicable public nuisance. Banana, she has multiple videos where she does this to a teenage girl and their mom will freak out.
COVID-19 is lowering intelligence. Each COVID-19 infection decreases IQ 3 to 8 points per infection. Vax may help, and it's good, but it doesn't necessarily prevent. People are getting dumber with each infection. This is peer-reviewed data. Only scientists are following this. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if that's true. Because of the nature of COVID-19, the way it infects dendrites and certain types of immune cells that cause like massive indiscriminate damage in your body, I wouldn't be surprised if that's true. The reason why people died from COVID is because the cells that were damaged in the lungs were just the most vulnerable systems that you need to live. It's not that it only attacked the lungs. It's just that the lungs are the least robust and they have certain specialized cells that cannot heal. So it would make sense to me that COVID does cause those kind of damage. That is possible. I'm not saying it's not. That sounds plausible to me.
We do videos on TikTok. I didn't mean to scare you, but
cytokine
I just
storms.
wanted to
Yeah, exactly.
try and see.
No, I'm good. I don't want to buy your Vibe facial system. No, thank you.
Are you sure? I harass people and don't respect their boundaries.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't realize. Yeah, let me get one. Her script usually goes something like, no, it's okay. I'm testing my facial product.
I'm actually testing out my facial product. I wanted to try it on her.
No, thank you. No, thank you. Bye.
No, it's okay. You don't understand. I'm doing something. No, it's okay. Let me do something. I'm doing something. I'm in bed now because my back hurts, and I also started my period. And also, I'm gonna jump off a cliff. She'll also point out people's flaws so she can fix them.
I'm sorry, you just have some acne on your face.
That is my daughter.
She has some acne.
I'm sorry.
So not only is she pretending to harass people, she's also insulting them. It's like pushy car salesman meets passive-aggressive mom. You want this car? No thanks. Are you sure? It looks like you've gained some weight. What does that have to do with anything? It's energy efficient, unlike you. You look tired. I'm just not wearing makeup. It's got a very spacious cabin, which you're gonna need. Mom. She also goes up to people and sticks this big ass mask on their face.
Whoa. Oh my gosh. What are you doing?
Oh my gosh.
Which has this comically long cord and battery pack attached to it that's just swinging around, hitting everything.
Try this. Put it on. Try it. Try it.
for your face. It's hideous.
This thing is called the Age Rewind Miracle Mask, and according to their website, it targets the appearance of fine lines. But if you don't believe it, check out their customer results. Clearly it worked for this real human woman. I love this product. I have never looked better. At least it's only $400 and sold out. And this part looks like a ball sack. Another kind of fake video I keep getting are these dumbass promos for
No free promo. No free promo.
There's this AI app that claims it can find your partner on dating apps using a picture of their face and their name. And the only
I have to say that as I've been trying to like understand and make short form content more, I have noticed that the ads are fucking terrible and the products they sell are garbage. There was this one thing I was getting spammed on in TikTok. There was this guy who was trying to sell his book about the theory of music, and it was the most Reddit coded like pretentious fuck. And I kind of like looked into it, and basically he was trying to say that like music theory as is taught in like colleges and universities is wrong, but his music theory is like more correct. And it's like, it's just some guy in his tiny studio apartment with like delusions of grandeur and narcissism. And I was like, why the fuck is this guy buying every other TikTok ad? The only way I could make it stop was to block the guy, which thankfully helped.
Promotion I ever see for it is through these undisclosed scripted promos that are just pure rage bait.
Who are you? I'm Mike's wife. Who are you? Are you one of his Tinder dates?
Can we not do this here? Like,
there's these undisclosed ads where it's like, find your partner's secret Twitter account. And it's like a person going, I found my husband's Twitter account and I broke up with him in a really humiliating way and he got his comeuppance. And it's like, this is just fake. This is an ad for a dumb fucking service that's bullshit. The gender war shit is also stuff that's like blowing my mind up because I fucking hate it. And I think everybody who likes that content has no brain.
Wait, you said you weren't married? Yeah, no, he's married and we have 2 kids.
Guys, this is a nice place. Can we not?
You have kids?
Guys, please relax, okay? This is a nice place. That's why I'm wearing a faded Flash t-shirt and cargo shorts. They'll literally plaster the name and logo of the app all over the video, and somehow the comments are never talking about how it's an ad.
This is a beautiful poster of your Tinder that you can go hang up and your
there you go. Thank you. That's why I wanted you to see this video, chat. I need to rage about this shit.
new home, and you're going to find a new place to go, and you're going to hang this beautiful poster. Look at this beautiful poster.
There's so many accounts that make these promos, but I get a lot from these two specifically. I think they're partners in real life, and they catch each other cheating every single day.
What is this?
It's your birthday present. I got you cheater cookies. I made those myself. And red flag cupcakes, since you're a walking red flag. Unwrap your present. Unwrap it.
Oh man, I wonder what she got him. I sure hope it's a comically large screenshot of the No Free Promo app and logo.
Wow.
Printed out on poster board. And then on his account, he has a video where he gives her those same cookies because he also caught her cheating on him.
Surprise. Do you love it? Because you're a cheater and a walking red flag. I mean, I don't understand what else.
This shit, honest to God, these people should be in prison. I'm not being ironic here. These people should legitimately be in prison for violating the FTC trade guidelines about undisclosed advertisement. You should not be able to advertise shit for money and then pretend like it's a non-biased review. If you're being paid to say something, you should have to disclose you're being paid to say it.
Birthday gift.
Right now?
Yes, open the gift.
Oh man, I wonder what he got her. Oh my God. I just can't figure.
I work at advertising. The FTC isn't real. I mean, not anymore. Not any fucking more. Welcome to 40 years of neoliberalism. They used to clap people in irons back in the day. They used to fine people. They used to fuck you up. Not anymore. Congratulations, Bill Clinton, Obama, Trump, Reagan. We don't have any laws anymore. Surprise, surprise.
It out. I don't have no idea what it is. Is it a pony? Is it a puppy?
Oh my goodness, look at that.
On one hand, it's frustrating to see the comments eating this up, but on the other hand, it's mostly because people are concerned for her because they've made videos where she packs up their kids and leaves the house to try and escape him, or videos where he's being a total asshole to her.
Ever since that moment,
excuse me?
You've smelled like shit.
Oh, so that must be why you made a Tinder then. Making some bullshit up.
Maybe I made a Tinder because I don't want to be with somebody who smells like manure.
There are a lot of videos that I'm not including because they're very triggering, including him yelling, throwing things, berating her. Actually crazy to stage this kind of stuff. Crazy in general, just to stage this. But to do it in order to promote an app that I'm assuming you're getting paid to promote, it's crazy. It's crazy and I hate it and you suck. Just wanted to say that on my webcam angle, that is not off-putting at all. So, you know, just faking a situation that countless women go through every single day so that they can get us to download this shitty ass dookie fart fuck app. And I know what you're thinking, guys. I can't believe an AI app doesn't care about having ethical marketing either. I'm just as shocked as you are. I also can't believe—
Did Vio show you this yet?
The sky is blue. But out of all of these, I feel like this account has both the highest production quality and the highest deception rate. They make these staged college classroom videos where a student or a professor is really pissed off.
I have a PhD. That is a doctor. Thank you very much. Don't forget. Yes, sir.
You have a 1.4 on Ray My Professor. I'm not even in this class. I've been going around to the worst teachers' classrooms.
This is my classroom.
And helping you out.
And you will never guess why they make these videos, ever. Not in a million years will you guess this. Ever, ever, ever. Never. Unless you guess that is to promote another fucking dookie shit ass fart fuck AI app. Then you'd be right.
If you have a problem with my teaching style, you can leave.
Are you kidding me? Because you can't teach and you are literally setting us up for failure.
By the way, God, I'm so tired of these, like, there are certain kind of, like, populist takes that are brain dead. And one of them is like, I don't know anything. It's your job to teach me. And it's like, yes, it is a teacher's job to teach the students. But why are you there? If you don't care, fucking leave. Quit. If you don't care to learn, if you don't feel any motivation to learn, if you think that the job of the professor is to teach you or the teacher is to teach you, you should quit. And I mean that. You should leave until your attitude changes. Until you value knowledge and learning, you should leave. I don't think people should be forced to be there as an adult. Children, well, they should be forced because they're literal children. But having this kind of attitude is just like, you need to grow up.
I have to turn to things like save my GPA.
You cannot teach an unwilling student.
That will literally reteach me everything. I upload the entire textbook, and then I have to use this, solely this.
Because of you, I have to use this AI app that improves my learning efficiency. Here's what it looks like, by the way. Here's where you can download it and check it out. Also, here's my discount code. Use my code, too, while you're at it. They always stand up to the professor and hashtag own them by bringing up their Rate My Professor score.
And the textbook is available at the bookstore, and it's going to cost about $500.
I have a question. I was just wondering, why do you have 1.4 on Rate My Professor?
Well, I'll tell you what, this is a weed out class, okay?
Dude, this is a weed out class? That's sick. Guys, get your weed out. No, the teacher said he's fine with it. I rarely see comments acknowledging that these are all ads, at least in the top comments anyway. But it also seems like they're not paying attention to the website plug at all. In fact, they're mostly talking about how these videos just prove that college is a scam. Dr. Democrat for sure. School's a scam. Drop out and start a business. Charlie Kirk was right. College is a scam. It's pretty funny to make an ad for a learning tool and everyone's response to be, learning is bad actually. Hey, check out this soft recyclable toilet paper. No thanks, I don't believe in all that. Recycling? No. Wiping. After seeing how unchecked most of these videos go, I decided to run a few tests. I wanted to prove how easy it is to fool people online, even if you're really bad at it. And barely trying. So I started faking things. Something your mom has never said to me, by the way. For my first stage video, I asked my friend Tom to pretend to be a complete stranger who's knocking on my hotel room door because he really, really has to take a shit. Like he really has to go really, really bad. Like he can barely hold it in.
Oh, thank God. Hi.
Hello?
Do you mind if I use your restroom?
I don't know.
I'll be in and out, I promise.
Okay, chat. I'm gonna be honest with you. If somebody comes to your house in the middle of the night and randomly knocks at the door and asks to come in, the answer is, unfortunately, no. If a person has no reason to be at your house and it's the middle of the fucking night and they're not a relative, they're not a friend, that you did not call on them to go there, the answer is no. Especially if you're a single woman. Go to a restaurant, go to a gas station. Most buildings have public restrooms in them. What the fuck are you doing?
This one was pretty tough to film because Tom was so in character that I kept falling to the ground laughing. You let yourself up here?
I told the guy down there I had to go. If you want me to go in the hall, I'll tell him you didn't let me.
I don't.
Sorry.
Unfortunately, the comments didn't really buy this one, except for a couple who are just confused. They're not really fooled. They're just
lost. However, I'm still gonna count this one as a win because the woman staying in the hotel room next to mine opened her door to ask if everything was okay.
I'm sorry. We're recording the video.
Okay.
I'm not.
Thank you.
Sorry.
So technically this one was a success without even having to post it on the internet. We already had someone convinced that there was actually a strange guy who really needed to shit in my hotel room. Shout out to her for checking in on us. Also, I'm very sorry you had to open your hotel room door to this.
No.
By the time I made my second video, I realized I wasn't gonna fool anybody unless I used the tried and true methods. So I put a date and timestamp on there to try and make it look like security camera footage. But I can't quite get my voice to do this. So instead, I just used an actual tea kettle.
Oh no! No! Oh my god, I burned the water! I ruined the tea!
I also don't have a son that I can use for content. A human son, anyway.
Oh my god! Are these for me?
I'm also gonna count this one as a success because this person commented, I know it's not the point of the video and I'm not here to chastise, but wireless cameras in your home is a huge security risk. Your videos are safe and available to anyone via a data breach, and that's putting aside that the cameras. For my last one, I wanted to dip my toes into the classroom genre of staged content.
I will say that Chatter is right. I don't like the panopticon world that we're slowly finding ourselves in. And most of the time, these cameras are just for psychological. It's bothering me that so many people think that these cameras make you safe. I want you to understand something. If you film someone, let's say the worst happens. Somebody came to your house and they robbed you blind. Guess what? The camera does fucking nothing. The cops are not going to investigate. They don't give a shit. You're going to end up going to the insurance company and filing for an insurance claim. Except now that you have a camera, they might investigate you harder because they want to figure out if it's an inside job and they need to investigate the person themselves. It might even slow you down in getting paid back. So, like, honest to God, if you want to protect yourself against theft, get an insurance policy with a insurance company that actually pays out. Like, the camera shit, it doesn't do anything. Mike, The Age of Surveillance Capitalism by Zubhoff is a good book on this. Everything is a futures market on your captured behavioral data. Yes. Tough talk from behind your camera, Mike. The only cameras in my house are the ones that point at me.
Which was going to take a bit more effort, so I had a brainstorming session with my friends to figure all that out. I had also just finished watching the final season of Stranger Things, but that had little to no effect on anything.
I don't understand. Could you say that again in English, please?
If this is me and this is you,
That's
okay,
him.
This is the classroom. I need that later. No one.
I don't understand. Are we in a classroom or are we not in a classroom?
This is the classroom.
Okay.
I want this goddamn TikTok's heart on a platter. This is the only way.
I think this might just be crazy enough to work.
Let's do it.
When I was editing this one, I tried to use this format that the classroom video accounts will do, where they put the most interesting part of the video at the beginning, and then the actual video starts.
Can you put that away? Are you watching a video in my class? It's a Chad video. I have a PDH. Do you understand? You're not listening. None of us like you.
And it paid off. Everyone believed this was real. Don't check the comments though. Yet another successful experiment. Being on the internet right now, especially with AI and how quickly that's evolving, it's more important than ever to not take everything you see online at face value. It's very important that we all doubt everything. Because if it's this easy to fake a video about your spouse cheating on you or a whole college classroom, imagine how easy it is to fake a video of your morning routine, or how perfectly organized your closet is, or how this serum on TikTok Shop made your skin flawless and perfect. So if something makes you feel bad or angry or inadequate on the internet, it's pretty safe to assume that it was designed to do so. Because the only thing that's 100% real is reality and my teaching qualifications. I'm gonna call it there, guys. Thank you for subscribing, and if you are still here, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you clicking on my video out of all the videos that are on here, and I'll see you next time. Okay, bye.
Chad. We need more queens like this. She's very lovely. Great creator. We love Chad. Chat, I just saw the Chapo Trap House thumbnail. Surveillance capitalism, Dart, the barefoot dude. Did you know her optometrist nephew was thinking about going to Israel? Yeah, I'm sure. Holy fucking hell. Did you guys, do you guys remember how Destiny a couple weeks ago said that Ethan Klein molests his children? Were you guys aware that a couple weeks ago, Ethan Klein did not respond to Destiny saying he molests his children and is a pedophile? What do I think about Flesh Simulator? I don't fucking know, man. Schizo, you know what? I'm okay with that. You're allowed to be schizo. Speaking of the Kleins, guys, you know, I've been really tough on Gila Klein, you know, and Ethan Klein. And the thing is, it's because I didn't want to admit they're talented. If it wasn't for the podcast, they would be voice actors. Have you guys heard their voice acting before? It's some of the most talented shit you've ever seen.
Listen up.
Like they were included in the game Payday as a DLC. And let me tell you something. When I heard their voice lines, when I heard their shit, I was like, I may think they're evil Zionists who laugh at children being murdered and are friends with and support pedophiles online. Like, for example, going after denims instead of people that have been convicted of actual sex crimes, which is weird. But then I heard this and I was like, you know what, Mike? You may hate their guts, but can you compete? Can you compete with this level of voice acting talent?
Listen up. This is a robbery, but we don't want to hurt you. And we want the bank's money, not your money. Your money is insured by the government, so you won't lose anything. Think of your families. Be smart. Just behave and do what we say, and we won't kill you.
Did they do one take? Did they do one fucking take? Holy shit, was that bad? That made Gal Gadot look like an Oscar winner. Holy fuck, are you a hack? Hila, you are worthless. All right, chat, I wanted to show you this. We talked about this, but there was a march for billionaires. And I gotta tell you, it was the most pathetic thing I've ever seen. And I'm gonna show you more clips. It's so fucking funny how these are the people that like Destiny. This is basically a Destiny meetup.
Okay, when I saw this story, I literally didn't believe it. I was like, no, that's not right. I thought I must have misread it. So let me actually show you the title here. This was in the New York Post. March for billionaires to hit San Francisco streets on Saturday. And then it says, yes, it's real. Now, when I first read that...
Even in the New York Post, they're like, nobody likes billionaires. Even the New York Post understands it, right? Like, they understand nobody actually likes billionaires, even them.
My brain wouldn't accept it. My brain was like, I'm misreading it, or they miswrote it. What they meant to say was, like, march against billionaires. Like, anti-billionaire march or something like that. No, march for billionaires. For shit sure, we're about to find out at some point who funded this shit. We don't know right now, but my guess is Mark Andreessen or fucking Peter Thiel or one of those assholes funded, because this is not who organically is sitting around going, I know I make $60K a year, but I'd like to offer a massive thank you to Elon Musk, who has $850 billion. He's got more money than the GDP of like a fucking mid-sized country. Thank you, Elon Musk, for asking women to jack you off for a horse in return and for blowing up 12 rockets on any given random Wednesday. I appreciate that. Keep that $850 billion. I'll be over here with my 60,000. I can, my Toyota Camry just fell apart and I don't have enough money to fix it. But I'd like to thank you for everything you've done for this country. Like, what? What do we do? So I don't know the funding, but I'm speculating that there's some weary funding behind it in the first place. But March for Billionaires in San Francisco. All right, so you ready? Let me show you some of this. Here you go. We got some pictures that came out of it. Oh, prepare yourselves. Billionaires build prosperity. Keep them in California. Marchforbillionaires.org. Oh, this is such a cucked slave peasant mindset. Billionaires build prosperity? I don't know if you guys have noticed. Billionaires, their PR just shit the bed and jump the shark. All the billionaires are in the Epstein files. The Epstein class was just outed as being the parasites on society. They think you're subhuman. They think you're less than them.
I mean, it's also, can I just say the quiet part out loud? Most of the time when the billionaires are talking about us, they're calling us goy. Like, it is what it is. Like, in the Epstein files, Jeffrey Epstein uses goy as an insult. I mean, the fucking like attorney for Goldman Sachs was calling us goyim as well. Like, it's actually fucking insane how much like Jewish supremacist speech is in the Epstein files. And it's one of those things that makes you very uncomfortable, because I'm trying to fight against anti-Semitism. And then Jeffrey Epstein and the billionaire class, you see their unredacted emails, and it's barking mad Jewish supremacists. You know, it sounds Nazi-like, honestly. And they do it so casually and so consistently and so constantly. It's really bad.
They look at you as something to be exploited. They look at you as a meat sack to fuck and then dispose of with sulfuric.
What does that mean? It's a phrase. It's a word that comes from, you know, it's like the Jewish word for an outsider, right? There's two of them. There's like Gentile and Goy, right? And I would say that Gentile is more neutral and Goy is kind of derogatory. It's not completely, it's not necessarily a slur, but it's an otherizing term. I wouldn't say it rises to the level of slur, but it's certainly not, it's not nice. It's like one of those things that you say, it's like, a good example of it would be like saying, it'd be like a white person saying black, you know, where you're like, bro, you put some stank on that. That sounds sus. Where it's not quite a racial slur, but the way you're saying it can make it into a racial slur. You know what I mean? Like, anytime someone says like the blacks or something, you're like, that's the best way to understand goyim or goy, where you can't say it in a way where it isn't bigoted, but oftentimes it is used in a bigoted way. And the way they were using it was hateful. And you're just like, there's this weird network where it almost feels like a lot of the connected pro-Israel organizations are trying to build networks of like patronage and of Jewish supremacist ideology, where it almost seems like they're trying to make the conspiracy theories real. It's like they looked at the protocols and then said, how about we made that real? And you're like, obviously that's not true. The average Jewish person has nothing to do with this. But like Jeffrey Epstein and the billionaire class that he and oftentimes Israeli prime ministers, I mean, it's like, Jesus.
Acid and drop into the ocean from the bottom of the mansion at Rape Island. Okay? This is how they look at you. Billionaires build prosperity, keep them in California. So, by the way, what they're actually protesting against is there was a proposed 5% billionaire tax in California. By the way, you know who's on their side? Gavin Newsom. I'm not kidding. I wish I was kidding. I wish the Gavin that fights on his press account, I wish that was the real Gavin. It's not. Remember, Gavin threw his own press office account under the bus when the press office account rightly said that ICE were terrorists. Okay? He did an interview with Ben Shapiro. He goes, yeah, that was hyperbolic. It went too far. Guys, it is a lie cooked up by billionaires that, oh, if you tax us a little more, we're all just going to leave. That doesn't happen. In fact, they were huffing and puffing and going, if Zoran Mamdani wins the New York City election, I'm out of here. Zoran got elected. Not only did they not leave, I think I saw an article that more showed up, more went. Because at the end of the day, really, an extra 2%, 3%, 5% in taxes when you already have fucking $178 billion. Oh, I can't afford that. Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. Shut up. Shut up. Please, of course you're the only people who can afford it in this country. Meanwhile, what's Trump doing? Cutting taxes for the top 0.01%, raising taxes on the bottom 90% of Americans. People who can't afford a tax increase, it's the $60,000 a year guy. It's the $100,000 a year person. It's the $27,000 a year person. What are you babbling about? It's literally like the pity us. We're the victim, even though we're literally the oppressor. Okay, but let's keep going. So I got more pictures here. Tip your landlord. Oh my God. You know the asshole who does nothing and just owns the property and just collects your money? Yeah, tip that guy. The guy whose job is to sit on his ass and collect your money. Tip him for what? Why would you tip him? He does nothing. He just owns the property and takes your money. What is there to tip for? If you like check out at a fucking cash register and the person presses a couple buttons or uses the scanning thingy, that person does way more than the landlord does. Are you kidding me? And don't even get me started on the, how many people, oh, I got this problem, I got that problem. They call the landlord and it doesn't get fixed or it gets fixed 2 weeks later. We've heard horror story after horror story over that. And that's why Zoran is cracking down in New York on shitty landlords, which he's already held good to that promise. More. Mash communism. Mash communism. And let them eat cake. Oh, boy. Weird to put that reference in there. And then here.
So, I mean, basically, here's what I would say. Like, obviously I'm not bloodthirsty, right? I'm not a fire breather. I'm not one of those people that's saying go out and kill people. That would be crazy. And I don't want that world to come to pass. But when you're saying things like let them eat cake, you're directly referencing it wasn't even true. It's not even so. What's so funny about the let them eat cake statement is Marie Antoinette never even said that. That was propaganda the revolutionaries were making about her. It wasn't even true. She didn't even say that. These motherfuckers are a self-caricature. They're coming out and saying the propaganda that was made about a rich monarch that she didn't even say. And the result of the revolution was that Marie Antoinette was beheaded. So they're really, is the guy really asking to be killed? Like, is the point that he's making is that the only way to get me to stop is to kill him? Like, what is he doing? I don't understand the point of the sign. What is the point of the sign? What is he trying to communicate? Is he trying to say that we need a revolution and you have to eliminate him? Like, I don't know what he's trying to say. Like, legitimately, what are you trying to say, man?
The pro-billionaire march in San Francisco looks like a bunch of libertarian dweebs who stepped out of their Discord server for some fresh air. Booze and heckling from the parents at the playground with their kids. The parents with their kids are going, can you shut the fuck up? Hey, guys, what the billionaires do here, this is what they're...
Mike, did you see this?
Thoughts about San Francisco communists, Marxists, you know, the types of people that are anti-protesting you overall?
I think they are rats and vermin. And I think they're going to lose, just like they've been losing every single decade since the Soviet Union fell.
We're here at the SF Pro-Billionaire March.
People are marching in support of billionaires, the world's most oppressed class.
And we're here to get their 2 cents. Is there any ways you would restructure current incentives to allow for the protesters and anti-protesters to, like, see eye to eye?
I don't want to see eye to eye with them. I want to destroy them. All manner of socialists and communists that are motivated by jealousy, I want to wipe them off of the political spectrum. I want to make it not allowed for you to support this. It should be considered a horrible, horrible thing to believe.
How much are you getting paid to protest?
Absolutely zero. I do it for the love of the game, baby.
So are you close to becoming a billionaire yourself?
I am not, but I think it's important to have dreams.
Would you say anti-billionaires are chopped unks?
Most certainly. The most...
Do you mock sell them with your void exterior and charisma?
Most certainly. They hate us because we mock them. We are more beautiful than them, we are smarter than them, and we have more money than them, so they hate us.
This is your average Destiny enjoyer. Like, unironically, this is a Destiny Discord user. They have a shirt saying they're in a polycule with Elia, or whatever her name is, the fucking, like, the one, like, autistic sex worker who is always, like, pushing weird pro-pedophilic content. You guys know who I'm talking about? If you don't know who that is, you don't really need to know. I only know because she's so plugged into the billionaires in the Bay Area. They really like her. So if you pay attention to the billionaires, you have to pay attention to their various weird, like, camp followers that are all around them. Ella, or whatever her fucking name is. And generally, I feel like I would be more comfortable in the 20th century. I don't think the 21st century is for me right now. Like, I don't know how to say it.
Republicans do, right? What do the Republicans do? They run the House, they run the Senate, they run the presidency, they run the judicial branch, they run fucking everything. And what do? They whine, they cry, they bitch, and they moan as if we're the victims, we're under assault, we're under attack, I'm gonna whine every day for the rest of my life. It's like, motherfucker, you have everything you've ever wanted. You control everything. You're ruining everything. And you're still, woe is me, woe is me. Shut the fuck up with the whiny bullshit. Billionaires, same goddamn thing. Can you please shut the fuck up? Can you please pay 5% more in taxes so that a kid can go to school, or somebody can get some fucking health care, or somebody can get paid vacation time by law? Okay, everybody else is getting squeezed to the high heavens. And your ass is out here whining and crying and bitching and moaning for a slight tax increase, when at the end of the day, you're still going to have over $100 fucking billion. Oh my God. So by the way, I counted this. I think it's about 30 people. I think it's about 30 people who are at the March for Billionaires rally. And guess what, guys? That's what fucking happens when the bottom 80% of the country has just 7% of the wealth. That's what happens. That's what happens when the top 1% of Americans has stolen $80 trillion from the bottom 90%. since 1974. Those are facts, and that was from a Rand Corporation study. And actually, that's the outdated study. I think we have a new updated study since then. I just don't happen to have the numbers at hand. But according to that old study, every single working American would have an extra $1,144 per month every month for the rest of their life if we just had the same wealth distribution as 1974. That's how fucked we are now. That's how much billionaires and corporations and corruption has ruined this system, is that now you're out of $1,144 extra per month. That's insane to think about because the top 1% stole $80 trillion. It's just so crazy. It's just so crazy. It's so crazy that the bottom 50% of Americans hold 2.6% of the wealth, and these motherfuckers are protesting to pity the poor billionaires. What about pity the poor bottom 50%? What about pity the poor bottom 90%?
I think one of the things about communism and socialism in general is that these people only respect, and it's one of the harshest lessons to learn, and many left-wingers never learn it, is that there is a population of people that are peasant brain, that are hierarchical, and they demand a daddy to dominate them. Those are the conservatives that you're talking about. And they are never, ever, ever going to they'll never be persuaded by sound argument. They'll never be persuaded by rational argument or moral arguments or ideas. They simply orient themselves toward what is. They think that what is self-justifying and therefore should be supported. If you want to change these people's minds about the viability of socialism or communism or whatever, you have to simply take it from them via force. It's really that simple. And a lot of people are uncomfortable when you say something like that. And it's like, well, that's just how politics is. They have to be defeated, put it to the minority, and then we use the power of the state or whatever other organization to redistribute the wealth and restructure society as we see fit. That's just how it has to go. And, you know, it doesn't matter how well-founded your arguments are, how just they are. Some people just orient themselves toward power and they serve it. It is what it is.
Top 3 richest billionaires have more than the bottom 50% combined. And you're doing this woe is me bullshit. And by the way, as I always point out when we discuss billionaires, remember that 60% of billionaires came from extreme privilege. So the idea that it's just a meritocracy and they just work the hardest and they're just the smartest, that's completely factually wrong. And that should be obvious now to people, especially looking at idiots like fucking Mark Andreessen and Peter Thiel, who literally can't even get through a sentence without stuttering 78 times. And looks like his fucking oily face is like he just got caught eating the intestines of a baby on camera, and he's like sitting there sweating and having a nervous breakdown. He's a second away from a nervous breakdown at every moment. Fucking Elon Musk, who's the dumbest motherfucker on the planet, who lies and does vaporware on a regular basis. And this motherfucker's worth $850 billion when he's stolen $38 billion from American taxpayers and blown up 12 motherfucking rockets and gets caught doing another fraudulent scheme every other week. And we're supposed to support these people? We're supposed to care about these people? How about they fucking care for us? How about they pay their taxes and they support us and they give people health care and education and they fix this country and make this country better? God, I can't stand these people, man. I can't stand these people. So, nobody is a bigger political enemy of mine than the people at the pro-billionaire march. I need to make that clear because their whole conception of the world and their whole conception of politics is dead wrong. It is the exact opposite of the truth. We all know what the Republican mindset is. The Republican mindset is blame trans people for your problems and blame immigrants for your problems. Those are the scapegoats. You blame them. They're why you're struggling. They're why you can't pay the bills. And, you know, they're coming here and taking your money through taxes and in social programs and yada, yada, yada. And it's bullshit. It's total horseshit. It's literally scapegoating 101. The real problem are the parasitic shadow government of billionaire pedophile elites who are incredibly sadistic and have rigged the system in their favor and against you. And they literally look at you as less than human. And so that's why they've rigged the tax laws. They always get a tax break. You always get a tax increase. That's why they've rigged it so they get tax subsidies, literal money directly from American taxpayers. That's why they've rigged it so that money in politics rules the day. And they have more money than you do, so they own the politicians, and you can't get them to fucking respond to you no matter what. Okay? They are the problem. They are the problem. They are why we don't have Medicare for all. They are why we don't have free college. They are why wages are low. It's literally all at their feet. And this is what happens when you let capitalism run wild, okay? Now you have any individual that has $1 billion or more, they have more power than actual governments, because you could just buy the government and get them to do your bidding. Do you not see the problem with this? Do you not see you can have billionaires or you can have democracy? You cannot have both. You cannot have both, because the billionaires will undermine democracy by their very nature, by definition.
Well, right, because they're an accumulation. Money is power. Money is power. Money is deferred consumption. Money is the ability to direct resources. If you allow someone to have $1 trillion worth of resources, they will command the world. It cannot be allowed. It cannot be accepted.
They have too much wealth. They have too much power. They have too much control. They will undermine the will of the people. So you pick. You want billionaires or you want democracy? These fucking 30 idiots made their choice. Now we should make ours.
Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop. And watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.
Chat, we now have released body cam footage from another ICE shooting of a ICE observer, and it looks to be a targeted assassination.
Got it here.
Okay, so you can see the guy driving, and then he turns the car to the right, causing a collision.
All right, we're following now. All right, out of the car. Be advised, we've been struck. We've been struck. Get out.
They start recording, veer into the person, and then just shoot immediately.
Got it here.
All right, we're following now. All right, out of the car. Be advised, we've been struck. We've been struck. Get out.
This was the woman who was shot in, this was Martinez. Are they supportive? Big time. Everyone has been including Chief Bovito, Chief Banks, Secretary Noam, and El Jefe himself, according to Bovito. The CBP agent who shot Martinez then bragged about it over text messages to his pals. So here's my general feeling. Like, as I've said before, like, you know, I'm trying to skirt the line here. I'm not trying to get us in trouble here. I'm not trying to get anybody banned. But this country is on the ragged edge. The country's on the ragged edge. It's crossed my Rubicon. I know what needs to be done, but how to assemble the pieces is a difficult problem, and one that will take tremendous effort. And it's not easy. Which brings up the question. Hey, Casey. Good to see you. How are you doing? Friend of the show, Casey Tron, the unbowed, the unbroken.
There has been a...
Hey, Casey Tron, since you're in my chat, I wanted to ask you a question. Did you know that Destiny said that Ethan Klein molests his children? Were you aware of that? I mean, I'm not saying that you would endorse it. It's odd. It's odd. You don't have to say anything, Casey. I just wanted to, because he was eager to sue people, but yet he's silent over Destiny saying he molests his children. It's fucking odd. If you're gonna send out all these frivolous lawsuits, and you don't have to comment, Casey. I did. I think it's disgusting that Destiny would smear yet another person. I wish someone would hold him accountable. I know, right? Isn't that weird? Ethan Klein is like so submissive to Destiny, even though Destiny's saying he's a child molester. It's weird. It's weird. I can't believe Destiny would say that.
Major shift over the last decade among young adults in terms of how they feel, their pride in being an American. Because what are we talking about here? Well, let's just take a look. Under age 35, pride to be an American, extremely or very proud. You go back a decade ago under Barack Obama, it was 71% of those under the age of 35 were extremely or very proud to be American. That number has fallen through the floor. Look at this now. That number has fallen in half now. Just 36% of those under the age of 35 are either extremely or very proud to be an American. And this is a number that we've seen the polling data. There has just been a major shift, a historic shift in the pride that young Americans feel for their country.
Let's break that down by party. Do you have this over the same period of time among Democrats?
Yeah, okay. So there are two reasons why pride in this country are falling. One is younger Americans. The other is Democrats. Okay, let's take a look here. This is from 2013 to late 2025, a slightly different survey, but if you look at the same survey that I was looking at on the first slide, it's the exact same story. Democrats' pride to be an American, extremely or very proud. In 2013, it was 83% under Barack Obama. Look at this number now. Just 31% of Democrats say they are extremely or very proud to be an American. That is the lowest The lowest number on record. When you combine both youth and being a Democrat, that number falls into the 20s. Falls into the 20. Young Democrats, Generation Z Democrats, less than 30% of them are either extremely or very proud to be an American.
So, ladies and gentlemen, that is incredibly unsurprising, and quite frankly, that's good news. And the reason why it's good news is because these people are not lying to themselves. They're not being brainless morons reciting the Pledge of Allegiance like a 5-year-old. There are people saying, my country is getting worse. There is less opportunity. And that's the reality.
So what we're seeing here is both age as well as partisanship playing a major role in the fact that pride and the proudness to be an American, either extremely or very proud, is at record lows.
Yeah, and the motivations, just look at the time period for Democrats, that is in line with how politics have changed. How about Republicans?
Okay, this is where it gets interesting, right? Because you mentioned, right, and I had mentioned that Barack Obama was president in the mid-2010s, and now Donald Trump, a Republican, Democrat to Republican being president. But what about Republicans? Their numbers have actually stayed pretty steady. So let's take a look at this exact same poll. Republicans, pride to be an American, extremely or very proud. In 2013, it was 92%. By late 2025, pretty close, right? 80%, maybe a slight fall in this PRI survey. But I will note in the Gallup poll, which measures over a similar period, there was no change. There was no change. So what we're seeing is we see younger people and Democrats really shifting away, shifting downward in their proudness to be an American, while Republicans have stayed pretty steady despite the partisanship of the president's changing. But Democrats very much shifting away as the partisanship of the president saying Donald Trump has really sort of changed the equation for young Americans and Democratic Americans, or those who identify as Democrats, while he really hasn't changed the equation when it comes to Republicans whose pride levels have actually remained fairly steady over the same period.
Even Republicans have to admit, I mean, a 12-point drop is a significant drop, especially when they hold the White House. A 12% drop is steady? No, it's not steady. It's just that editor momentum is spinning an interpretation which is not reflected in the numbers, and that's just how all polling conversations work. A person is spinning bullshit.
Very interesting look. Thanks, Harry.
Thank you.
U.S. Olympic skier Hunter Hess is defending his right to speak out. In a post on Instagram, he writes, "I love my country," and adds, "There's so much."
Oh, okay. Before we talk about this, chat, are you aware that there is a American Chinese woman who decided to represent China in the Olympics, and the right-wing media ecosystem is going insane, smearing and attacking her? And it's fucking, I think she just won a silver medal.
I will start by saying it doesn't get easier, you just get stronger. So, yeah, I've been through a lot in the last 4 years and even beyond that. I've gone through things at 22 that I don't think any person ever should have to deal with, be it from threats, vitriol, online hate, I mean, you name it, physical attacks, the list goes on. But I get stronger, right? And that's what's so wonderful about being young. You adapt and you learn and you get stronger and better and better and better. As far as getting better in skiing, there was a period of time when I thought that I would never be better than how I was when I was 18. And so overcoming that and showcasing my very best skiing again today, under pressure, when it counted, at the Olympics, is such a special experience. I've always said that if I can just inspire one young girl to start skiing, then that will be my mission accomplished. So hopefully after seeing the level of women's free skiing today, that goal is accomplished, and that is my gold medal for the day.
I just want to say congratulations to her for winning another Olympic medal, and I totally respect her decision to compete under the flag of China.
It's all about working hard, trusting yourself, peaking at the right time, and that's what's so special about the Olympics, is it is truly a global platform, and so it's an opportunity to showcase the very best of our sport. And I'm really happy and honored and proud to have been part of one of the best, in my opinion, or the best women's slopestyle contest ever. And so to have played a small role in that makes me very proud.
And the hogs are so fucking mad at her. They're so mad at her.
This is 22-year-old Eileen Gu from San Francisco, California, representing China. her mother's home nation. She is a Stanford student. She is a 3-time Olympic medalist, 2 gold, 1 silver. She is the reigning silver medalist in this event from 4 years ago in Beijing.
For that, chat, because I could get DMCA'd. You know how they are about the Olympics. But you get my point. Now our very best are leaving the country to represent China. And if you are a gold medalist or you're a medalist Olympic athlete, that is not a small loss. That's a big L for America. Can you watch this Chinese women's SWAT versus Indian SWAT?
Is the Tomarist team of Kazakhstan. 2 minutes, 3 seconds, 0.4.
冷静, cool down. No need to be rushed. Don't make mistake.
Smooth is fast is what we always hear, isn't it?
What the fuck? Hassan was shouting me out again, chat. Can Hassan just admit I'm his favorite streamer already?
Okay. I'm seeing some motion from some on the left who are like reluctantly joining in on it. Shouts out to Michael from Pennsylvania. Obviously, he's not one of them. He is in the trenches, but it is very frustrating to see like so many annoying shitlibs are cooking you on. Yeah, shitlibs are cooking.
Why does he call you Mike from Pennsylvania? You are Mike from China. That's true. I am Mike from China. Chat, do you have that link? I want to go in his chat and be like, you need to call me Mike from China. Editor shouted you out in the latest video.
Hey, Michael from Pennsylvania. Notice how.
What the fuck? What the fuck? Mike is so jealous of Hassan's China trip. I'm the real lemon, bro. I should be there. What the fuck? Yo, what the fuck? Thank you, editors of Hassan. Thank you, editors. I appreciate that. Mike from Beijing. All caps. All fucking caps. He's the one who called me Mike from Beijing. Now he's trying to change the fucking name. Mike from Beijing popping off. I need a Bilibili account. I need a Bilibili account. I have people going, hey, you should go to this YouTube or support this guy on YouTube. It seems that Mike not only understands people's livelihood, but also has a deep understanding of our military development. To be honest, Mike compared the military industrial complex to a paper tiger and summarized their developmental path as stronger country than strong army, which understands more than 99% of Western media have come to China to study. Welcome to Mike's show. What the fuck? I only got like 4 or 5K on this video, and they got 200K in China. God damn it. American fucking sloppulists. They're like, Mike, talk about tectone. Mike, I don't want to learn. Oh, wait, you've studied military doctorate and logistics and civil engineering and mechanical engineering? Oh, I don't want to hear about your aeronautical engineering expertise. I don't want to hear about your military doctorate expertise. I don't want to learn about any of that. Tell me about tectone. Tell me about fucking moist critical or whatever the fuck. Although, chat, I will say, go subscribe to the Mike from PA channel for all your favorite Mike from PA takes that are even better. All right, where the fuck was I? The skiing, the Olympic shit.
Much that is great about America, but there are always things that could be better. One of the many things that makes this country so amazing is that we have the right and the freedom to point that out. The best part of the Olympics is that it brings people together, and when so many of us are divided, we need that more than ever. I cannot wait to represent Team USA next week when I compete. He was responding to a public rebuke from President Trump this weekend after saying this on Friday at the Winter Games in Milan.
Thanks, I'll stick to Billy. Come on!
It brings up mixed emotions to represent the U.S. right now, I think. It's a little hard. There's obviously a lot going on that I'm not the biggest fan of, and I think a lot of people aren't.
Oh, chat, by the way, I wanted to watch this video. I forgot. One of our chatters is helping with this campaign for Oliver Larkin for Congress in South Florida, endorsed by the Broward County DSA, I believe. So Mike from PA Thought is spreading to South Florida. We'll probably watch this again tomorrow because it's so late in the stream. But
in Florida,
I want to show you guys this to see the spread of sewer socialism. Mike from PA Thought.
In Florida, status quo leadership tells us to ask for little and expect less. They tell us Florida's not changing in our lifetimes.
We're 35 years into Republican rule. We may be here for another 70.
We deserve a representative in Congress who works for us, not special interests. A representative who fights for Medicare for all, a $25 minimum wage, and confronts the corrupt corporate influence over our politics. I'm Oliver Larkin, and I'm running for Congress in Florida's 23rd District. Born on the 4th of July to an Army family, I was raised with a sense of duty to help others. In 2016, I was a grassroots organizer for Bernie Sanders' presidential, and in the years since, I've been a leader to help unionize my workplace with the Communication Workers of America, protect LGBTQ rights, and restore voting rights to over 1 million. But the work is far from over. Living in Florida has become unaffordable. Groceries have gone up, rent is through the roof, and millions of us are losing our paychecks to skyrocketing healthcare. We need to tax the rich and reinvest in America. Billionaire greed is the paramount issue of our time, and we need more members of Congress who will fight for working class Americans against the billionaire oligarchy. My opponent, Jared Moskowitz, is Florida's least effective Democrat. He's taken Trump's side with ICE deportations, became the first Democrat nationwide to join Elon Musk's Doge caucus, and has voted with Republicans to censure fellow Democrats. On top of that, he's taken corrupt, dark money from AIPAC and corporate PACs. And in Florida, he's made headlines for his stock trades with Marjorie Taylor Greene, his refusal to hold public town halls, and his appointments by Republican Governor Ron DeSantis twice.
Get him out!
He's not helping you put food on the table or pay your. As a democratic socialist, I believe a better world is possible. I will work to abolish ICE, end regime change in Latin America, end the genocide in Gaza, and reverse Trump's billionaire tax cuts so that we can invest in America. My name is Oliver Larkin, and I'm running for Congress because an affordable South Florida is worth the.
What a fucking Chad. And he's running against one of the biggest pieces of shit in all of the Democratic Party. So if you're there in South Florida, you have a candidate, you're fucking welcome. Make sure you guys like this if you're in South Florida. Share, go comment, go subscribe like I just did. We're going to help him. He's got all the local DSA's endorsements already. So this is a campaign that I am proud to get behind. We're going to win, motherfucker. We're going to win. Let's get South Florida back on top. Woo, it's been 5 hours already. I can't believe it. Am I going to try and get him on? I don't have to try, but I will probably think about that. Let me think about that. Not right. Let me look at my schedule. I always. I'll figure it out. I'll figure it out.
Because I'm wearing the flag doesn't mean I represent everything that's going on in the U.S. So yeah, I just kind of want to do it for my friends and my family and the people that support me getting here.
Well, the president criticized him in a post on Truth Social. Quote, U.S. Olympic skier Hunter Hess, a real loser, says he doesn't represent his country in the current Winter Olympics. If that's the case, he shouldn't have tried out for the team, and it's too bad he's on it. Very hard to root for someone like this. Other U.S. Olympians are also speaking out, including snowboarder Chloe Kim and skier Chris Lillis, who says he's heartbroken about the raids by ICE and the protests that they've sparked.
I love the USA, and I think I would never want to represent a different country in the Olympics. With that being said, I think that as a country, we need to focus on respecting everybody's rights and making sure that we're treating our citizens as well as anybody with love and respect.
I'm really proud to represent the United States. The U.S. has given my family and I so much opportunity, but I also think that we are allowed to voice our opinions on what's going on, and I think that we need to lead with love and compassion, and I would love to see some more of that.
A couple people answered questions about what was happening in the U.S. and Minnesota. For some reason, Hunter Hess is bearing the brunt of the criticism from the president. Can you talk about why this is playing out the way it is?
Well, there's sort of been a long-standing convention that when a politician or a member of the U.S. is sort of in the foreign sphere, you kind of present it united.
No airing the dirty laundry.
Right, but you know, we're also in an era where everyone in the world can see footage of what's happening in the U.S. I mean, think about how we view footage of protests happening in other countries. You know, it seems like a very big deal. And so for U.S. athletes, for them to not address those concerns, and keep in mind, we're basically a 50-50 country, right? The rest of the world sees the administration. They think this is official U.S. policy.
And first of all, this is not a 50-50 country. 65% of people don't like Donald Trump. Now, our political elections end up 50-50 because the Democratic Party doesn't care to win over the 15% of people are uninterested in milquetoast status quo politics. So they managed to, even though they have a 2/3 advantage, they managed to lose because they drive down the enthusiasm of young people, of progressive people, of the disillusioned even more. That's the reality. Every right-wing conservative is in a constant state of ecstasy. They're so happy with Donald Trump, okay? Every single person who registers Republican is constantly like, gaga, goo goo, I'm being fed so much fucking red meat, I can't eat anymore. Every single they are catering to their basest urges. They're engaged in pure, utter sadism, and the Republicans fucking love it. They're adoring it. They love Donald Trump. They're getting everything they want out of Donald Trump. When's the last time you were happy with a Democrat? I can't remember.
But about half the country does not want to be associated
Also, his statement was so anodyne. There's obviously a lot going on that I'm not the biggest fan of. I mean, I've heard more intense things. But here's Byron Donald's response. You chose to wear our flag. You chose to represent our country. You chose to compete at the Olympics. If that's too hard for you, then go home. Some things are bigger than politics.
But he is representing his country. He's representing his country by saying Donald Trump is a scumbag piece of shit. Fucking suck my dick. There's nothing more American than that. The one good thing about being an American is that you can look the president in the eye and say, you're a pedophile defender, you fucking pervert, you disgusting rat. I hate you. Country would be better off if you died. You're allowed to say that. Now, you're not allowed to say you want to kill the president. That's a phrase you're not allowed to say. But you could say the country would be better off if you died. That's called freedom of speech. The only redeeming characteristic of this country was freedom of fucking speech.
And you just don't
get it. Here's where I have a problem with all of this. That you could put the words from Hunter Hess into Charlie Kirk's mouth, and it would have the same meaning. We talked about the assassination of Charlie Kirk and why that was important. It was because he was opening up debate for young Americans to be able to speak out and talk back and forth and have a dialogue. And we have this violence in this country, but we're having this dialogue. I read what Hunter Hess is reading. I could absolutely see where that would come out as a tweet in the past from a Charlie Kirk or someone else.
Is that where the party is right now when you look at these responses?
I am actually saddened by responses like that, because to me, he has every right to say this. Where you were going, that politics ends at the border, is a quaint notion that we had from years ago, because social media and everything else has made it so that we do know what's happening in the rest of the world. And we as Americans should have the right to have this dialogue. And I think I'd be intellectually dishonest if I didn't point that out.
I'm so glad you're saying that, Mike. But we also have to look back and figure out why this is happening now. And the reason why this is happening now is because what is happening on the streets of the United States has never happened before. That's why these images are so disturbing, not just to people in this country and not just to the communities that are suffering from all of the violence that is being imposed by these rogue ICE agents, but people around the world are seeing it. And they are now saying, oh my God, we have never seen this from the United States of America.
And they're right. Brennan actually mentioned that when J.D. Vance was booed, that the Olympic team was not booed.
Exactly.
The crowd understood the difference between the government and its people.
That's right.
Well, chat. If you enjoy this content, please consider supporting me by subscribing to the YouTube channel. Let's try to get ourselves to 25,000 subscribers by the end of this month. That's a good goal, right? 25,000 subscribers. That's 10%. 10% growth from here. Let's do it. Have we touched on Hong Kong Pikers continuing stolen China maxing valor with the recent Fox News segment? Can you guys relink me the short where Hassan admits that he called me Mike from Beijing? I need that. I need that right now. I need that right fucking now. Thank you. Okay, I wanna hold on.
Pennsylvania.
Please. All right. Current time.
Central Committee, aka Michael from Pennsylvania, is so much more of a China glazer than me. It's crazy.
It's true.
He eats Xi Jinping's so much sometimes. Even I'm like, come on, bro, just dial it back a little bit. Like, you're gonna get us arrested. You know what I mean? Yeah, Mike from Pennsylvania, more like Mike from Beijing. My goal this year is to go to China and become a white monkey and just stay there.
Well, and with that, ladies and gentlemen, I have definitively defeated the Mike from Hong Kong or Mike from whatever the fuck allegations. You know who called me Mike from Beijing first? Hassan. Now suddenly he's agreed that I'm right. Mike is right. And he's trying to say, oh, he's not Mike from Beijing. Oh, he's not Mike. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for all of the support. I appreciate you. Thank you for all the subscriptions. Thank you for all the gifts. I will be back tomorrow, even earlier. Fuck it. Get here at 6:30. Doesn't matter if I'm live or not. Get here at 6:30 Eastern, 9:30 Eastern, 6:30 Pacific. Be here sitting in your desks. You better be ready. The Mike from PA stream, I've been liking starting a little bit early. So we may be permanent. Stay safe. Solidarity forever. I'm sending you over to VO. Free Palestine from the river to the sea. Socialism will win. And I'll see you tomorrow. Stay safe. Solidarity.